Junkies, you're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah Vandermeer, editor of Cannabis Culture and Pot TV, here at 307 West Hastings in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. My man Jeff, Big Lum on the couch here.
What's happening, Pot TV?
What's happening, brother?
What's going on,
crazy show today.
Fun.
Seems like things have slightly changed in the city of Vancouver since the last show we had. 19 years of peaceful protest at the Vancouver Art Gallery.
Turn
crazy. On Cannabis Day, on Wednesday.
On the day we're supposed to be celebrating being Canadians and being free.
Grab that mic too, Jeff.
Funny how that works, eh?
Yeah.
I'm going to take this right
Let's
out because
just make sure that everything's cool. Sometimes we have these damn mixer
See, the question is, how do you do dabs and microphone?
We're good there.
Yeah. Multitask pod.
Chatters, let us know if it's all good out
I got
there.
it.
If
I'm
you
like
can
a
see and hear
professional.
us. So, on the Wednesday, we were there at the Vancouver Art Gallery, and, you know, if you've been following the show, then you realize we've had some back and forth with the city in the lead up to this whole event, them putting up construction fences around the north side of the Vancouver Art Gallery to preemptively cut us off from having our rally there. The city of Vancouver is pissed about us selling marijuana openly at the Vancouver Art Gallery.
Yes, they
It's
are.
not actually necessarily the city at first, but it was the business associations, the BIE, a bunch of groups. They contacted the mayor's office. The deputy city manager, Sadhu Johnston, said to us that we can't have our farmers market there. They asked us to move it to a different location. They actually said it would be fine if we wanted to sell marijuana and have our big event in a different location. And we said that would be cool for the future, but in 3 weeks, there's no way we can stop it from happening at the Vancouver Art Gallery. So it was business as usual for us going on to the art gallery. We were going to downsize the event to a smaller protest this time, where I would not take part in organizing any of the vendors' booths. Usually we collect donations so we can pay for toilets, the safety, security, first aid booths, ambulances. We couldn't afford any of that stuff. And the police, when we got there, first thing in the morning, the police and city
6 a.m.
services. Yeah, early in the morning.
6 a.m. there was 19 officers there already.
At 7, I went and asked the officers and the city workers and took photos of them, asked them, what are they doing there? They said they're there to shut down tables that don't have permits. So we knew that there was trouble from the beginning. Now,
Bright and early.
What happened was, though, as the day progressed and we started to gather in our little spot on the south side where there's stairs in the back.
A few more people showed up.
Yeah, we got into a bit of an altercation with the security who runs the cafe at the top of the stairs. They didn't like us and didn't want us to be on the stairs. And then the cops show up and start putting a camera right in our face. They have
Videotaping us.
Video camera on a stick with some wireless broadcasting equipment on it.
Yep.
They were really getting right in our faces.
Intimidating.
Coming up to us, being intimidating.
That's right.
Walking very close. Patrols of cops, three at a time, walking around the whole perimeter. Groups standing on every
always
corner.
rotating in cars too. Undercover cars, bicycles, motorbikes. Jesus, like everywhere.
They were giving
everywhere.
tickets away. Johnny pulls his truck up just for 2 seconds, gets a ticket.
He left his vehicle there all day after that in protest, though. So.
Oh, good. Nah, he got another ticket after that too.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, that's their means to an end, right? Like that's their business. I was just explaining that earlier. They like making money off those tickets because that's how they get paid, make all that extra money. Same with why they seize people's property when they arrest you for pot, even like in cases with Ryan Mailman, where they seized his vehicle and sold it before he even got a chance to go to court. Like this
is why we still
insane.
Do what we do, and
That
this
is
is why
why.
we still protest and why we have activism. And you know, I wanted to say that I'm sad that this happened in the city of Vancouver because we have had such a peaceful relationship. You know, we did our best to keep this a peaceful thing, and we really were peaceful. We moved with no violence towards anyone. The
police were the only violent.
Yeah.
That's
and
it.
Neil wouldn't comply, and he said he was selling marijuana as a form of peaceful protest. Now, this is what our farmers market is all about. And I know some people, you know, we were at City Hall today, and while we were there, John Conroy showed up. And John's a lawyer who's been working on our side for a long time, knows a lot of stuff about what we do. But even he wasn't getting the concept of the farmers market as a form of political protest.
Right.
But when we explained it to him, then he did. You know, and he kind of saw the justification for it. But I think it's kind of hard for people to wrap their brain around this. The reason that we go and openly sell marijuana is because we want to break laws we don't believe in until they change.
That's
is
right.
the same
Just like-
reason that Rosa Parks should not have been forced to stay in the back of the bus.
You're damn right.
And we have Neil Magnuson over here. Now, Neil, why don't you come over here? I'm going to just move this camera a bit.
Moving the camera. Neil, my brother. The Cannabis Crusader.
You should describe what happened next and what they said to you. Tell us the story from Neil's perspective here on camera.
We had the showdown about the booths. They were going to physically take down the one booth that went up first. I explained to them that as an officer of the Marijuana Party of Canada, we had every right during an election year, protection under the Elections Act, to set up booths and campaign anywhere in the city. They backed off and the booths went up. Vending began, but nobody was selling cannabis. The police presence was intimidating, to say the least. And I went and talked to the senior cop that was there, the older fellow.
Yeah.
And I told him that, we were setting up, we were going to be selling cannabis, and just to get a feel for his opinion. And he said that they understood that and they were going to be realistic about it. I didn't understand that being realistic about it meant tackling me and kicking me in the ribs and head and shit. But so after that, I did set up, as I proudly do every cannabis day. I set up, I put my jars out, and boom, I had a whole bunch of people that were, because they were waiting for someone to help them get what they were looking for there. Mm-hmm. And so I did that for maybe 10 or 15, 20 minutes at the very most. And I became very uncomfortable with how many police officers were paying way too much attention to me, moving closer and closer to me. So I put it away. As soon as I put it away, the second lead officer, Brandon, who was with the East Indian gentleman with the video camera, he called me over. He said, Neil, come here. He said, if you're going to keep selling cannabis, we're going to arrest you. And I said, I am going to keep selling cannabis. That's what we're doing here. This is the law that we have decided it's our moral obligation to break. And I am going to keep doing that. And then I went back over and I didn't sell any cannabis. I just sat on the lawn and I sat there and I looked at all the police officers looking right at me. Several of them had a bead on me. They were not breaking. And I figured that was going to happen. So I stood up and I addressed them. And I said, you people don't need to be here. There's no one being harmed here. You're aggravating a situation. You're scaring people. You could be cited. You could be arrested for inciting a riot. You need to stand down and walk away. And I repeated that a few times. None of them moved. They were the meanest, most intimidating-looking Vancouver cops I've ever seen at a pot rally. That's for sure. That was not the regular crew that deals with our rallies over these years.
It was Public Safety Unit.
Oh, is that who they are?
It said on their jackets, Public Safety Unit.
Wow, they do a good job of keeping the public safe by having a near riot.
They hosed an old man down with pepper spray. They were just walking by.
It was so insane. I couldn't believe it. They marched over to me. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, there was a gang of them walking right over to me. They announced that I was under arrest, and they grabbed me by my arms.
Yeah.
So I got pretty nasty bruises.
Yeah, you have bruises all over.
My arms from them grabbing me and trying.
Should we get the bruise cam?
And trying to pull me.
Let's get the bruise cam.
Bruise cam.
Bruise cam. It's usually the bud cam, but of course today it can be both. Here, show them the bruises, Neil. Show them the brutality. Yeah, these cops were rough. Now we're gonna actually watch. We have some really great video was shot over the course of the whole scuffle. I was there with my iPad. I got the initial video. It wasn't very good quality. And it didn't really, I don't think that the video that I shot really illustrated exactly what was happening. It was just, I got there a little 2 seconds late because I was doing an interview with the Global down the road, and I heard the scuffle and came running. So,
I was just sitting there. I wasn't moving. I was just sitting there.
No, they swarmed you. And then they said they had the audacity to say that we swarmed them.
Oh, and also, I heard that
media.
CTV was reporting that I took a swing. That I was the first one.
You were sitting. No, they have video of you sitting in the chair, and all the cops jump on you while you're sitting in the chair.
I was in the chair, just on the lawn.
On the lawn.
Yeah, or wherever you were sitting on the ground.
They were strategically placing cops 2 by 2 throughout the crowd before they took you down.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Came over to get me and said they're gonna arrest Neil. So we went over right away, and I was 2 feet away when they fucking tackled you guys.
Yeah.
And then I stood there helpless with fucking a ring of cops around, like just.
They totally planned for that.
Wow.
They obviously trained for that. They were ready for hug power. The reason it didn't work is there was just way too many of them.
Way too many. Too fast.
Yeah. And they had a strategy, which is they were going to send in the initial gang to tackle me and whoever grabbed onto me, and then another group would come and circle that them. And try to keep everybody else out in the form of a keyhole shape, so that they'd have an out for themselves
to get a whole ring
to get to the ring, but it had an out, so it was more like a keyhole, so that they could get me to the paddy wagon. So that's what happened, and then it was like I don't know how long that scrum lasted.
That was their hug power strategy.
That was all about
hug power breakers.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
8
they brought the
minutes.
We were
biggest
hub
cops they had.
powerless to stop them.
Well, we did fend them off for about 15 minutes, which made them look really bad because at any point they could have backed off and stopped hurting me.
They could have.
Yeah.
You know, but they kept at it and they brought more, and you could see that they were a militarized unit that was prepared to do whatever it would take to arrest me, like as if I was some nasty murderer that had escaped from a prison a couple of weeks ago or something and been on the loose, you know.
The guy who sold some weed.
Yeah, on purpose, because I care about this country and I care about future generations, you know. And on that note, I want to really comment about the slander that they're putting on me and saying that I was selling to kids. I mean, they used the term youth, and fair enough, you know, there's young people. I feel kind of youthful myself, you know. And I don't know what a minor is. I don't think there's any age limit for cannabis. I've never heard about that. I know there's other things.
There's no laws or regulations written on it, not that they'd have a
Yeah,
clue if
so
they
there's no
did
real
that,
age
right?
limit for cannabis. It's not a controlled substance. It's a substance that's completely left out uncontrolled. And so, you know, you can get a license to drive a car at 16. You can get access to the most dangerous and destructive drug on the planet at 18 or 19 in Canada. And you can have a firearm. You know, 12-year-olds can get a special license for a firearm. And you can join the military, you know, and go and shoot people. You know, it's just... So the Canadian Senate said that people should have access to cannabis at 16 years of age. I've never sold to a kid. I'm a parent. I'm a good community person. I would never sell to a kid. I know what a kid is. A kid's someone who arrives at your booth with their baseball cap on sideways and goes, "Hey, mister, you know, can I buy some weed or something?" You know,
Right.
I've had those kids come to my tables numerous times over the years, you know.
Well, I started
I've never
smoking
sold
weed
to them.
when I
I've
was
always
15.
said, "Go bring me your mom and dad," you know.
17.
But I didn't think anybody there was under 17. I didn't think that was an issue at all. The cops never said word one to me about anything to do with youth. They told me, if you keep selling, we're going to arrest you. They didn't say, we saw you selling to a kid, and
No.
now we're going to arrest you. Never. If they'd have said that, boy, we would have had it out right there and then. I would have stood my ground with them and said, absolutely not. What do you think, man? And so, you know, young people, youth, that have decided that they're going to use cannabis are going to use cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
right.
going to get it, no matter what, right?
Same as
so
alcohol.
Where are they going to get
Tobacco.
it? They can't get it from a dispensary. They can't get it, you know, through Stephen Harper's dealers. So if they can't get it at a pot rally where good people are there willing to openly sell cannabis because we're proud of who we are and what we're doing, if they can't get it from them either, obviously they're going to a basement suite with some guy with affiliate to a gang, and you know, and they're sending them back to the gangs. And I think that maybe is the deal that Stephen Harper has made, is that everybody over 25 is fodder for his dealers to sell weed to, and everybody under 25, the gangs get them. And that looks like what's happening. And I'm so disappointed. I'm so ashamed of the tactics of the VPD. Not the individual members that weren't there that are good people. Those guys that are there, they shouldn't have done what they did. They should have turned their backs on their assignment and said,
Well,
we won't do that.
occupational health and safety, any job in Canada, if you find it deemed unsafe or harmful to do, you can say no to your employer. So if these officers would just simply say, no, we're not going to do this and we're not going to enforce this, which is sort of what it looked like in the beginning, there's no reason it had to go there at all.
They were spoiling for a fight.
Each and every one of them that took part is liable for a crime that was committed there
I
with
agree.
excessive
I
force
just
and
wanted to
abuse of
say-
power and assault.
I agree.
And many of them wouldn't show their badge numbers.
I just wanted to say something quickly about the whole minor issue as well. You were just mentioning that. In Europe, for instance, they don't have age limits on drinking booze.
Nope.
And guess what? They don't have the same problems that we have with the abuse of alcohol. They do
By
have
young
abuse
people.
of alcohol problems, but not the same in the same numbers we have in North America of young people.
Yeah.
So I think part of this whole thing is a weird reverse psychology when it comes to things. You ban these kids from drinking booze and stuff and make it into this big deal, make them seem like it's something they want, and then they end up abusing it when they drink it rather than using it casually and regularly like normal people would. Then you have this binge attitude where it's the weekend, you're getting shit-faced, it's this big production and everything. So, you know.
Well, we seem to celebrate that existence of alcohol. You know,
Yeah.
like pictures of, you know, at the bar in the club. And,
Right.
You know,
Molson's Hockey Night in Canada.
They're just praising. Yeah, it's everywhere.
all
in
our
your
sports
face.
events
And-
are
and
all
Canada
about
Day is a
booze.
booze
Those are
fest.
kids watching
Yeah,
the sports
Canada
events.
Day. Yeah, that's okay. I would
A
like
lot of alcohol sales. I wonder what the numbers were in the
how
profits.
many
and-
drunks were in the cells with you guys?
Hey, just a week before we had our crackdown on our Cannabis Day rally, right there on Robson Street, there was a beer gardens where everybody was sitting around drinking booze right in the beer gardens.
Kids walking by.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we got to think about what if they are really concerned with kids. I love that's their favorite shit, man.
Think
That's
of
all
the
they got.
Think of
children.
the children.
Yeah.
Here, take this Ritalin. Think of the kids.
No, that's what they always say. It's just their way of distracting from the crimes that they actually commit. They come in, they start smashing heads, they stomp all over peaceful activists, they pepper spray Bert, And while he was trying to help,
They pepper sprayed
Reg from
women in the
Budzilla,
crowd. They
wasn't it?
pepper sprayed random people.
Yeah, no, it was brutal.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
It says we're
there's
still.
a video of that 72 or 82-year-old man just giving the cops shit after they pepper sprayed him.
Yeah.
He's just like, what the fuck are you guys doing, man? Like, and he wasn't
Well,
part of that
the
rally. He was
Rev
just
got
walking by.
he got jumped on the street, taken down to the pavement,
Got a
and then they got a
jaywalking
jaywalking ticket.
Yeah, let's
Shouldn't have been
Yeah.
jaywalking.
trade me places here for a
Happy
sec.
420, everybody out there.
Happy 420. We're
Hey,
gonna do
Jade and Sean are in the
Neil
house.
Magnuson, the Cannabis Crusader of the Week.
Oh, and
to me.
Tommy Bong is in the
Hey, Tommy
house.
Bong.
Joe Fort, we got the crew.
420
Hey, and
Happy
Johnny
420,
B. Come on in
If
a
you
little
were
bit
to
here.
take-
Come closer so the camera can see you, rather, Rev.
If you were to take 24,000 people like we had at 420
Yeah.
and give them all big cans of beers, how many fights would it take? And how many cops would be used to stop that? No shit. Like, seriously, how many cops does it take to stop a stoner? None. None.
Oh, I don't know, a few with the hug power.
Well, that's the way it was this time.
It was.
This was a ridiculous show.
They
of
didn't need to
arrogance
do
and
that, though.
force.
If they would have come up to Neil and actually, dealt with it in a proper way, it could have been done without violence. They didn't need to have 50 cops jump on the guy.
I've-
Like, what is with
I don't
that?
think
It's
they
crazy.
needed to jump on anybody.
No.
I've been doing
They
these
never need to
events
do
for
that
10
shit.
years now. I've known Neil for about 9 years now. And the parade that we do every year, the march, I led it
World
for
Marijuana
2
March.
years in
Yeah.
a wheelchair.
Yeah, you did.
I believe in what I do. I believe that the cannabis is one of the greatest gifts Mother Earth could ever give us.
Yeah, it's truth to that.
And to be standing up for my brothers and sisters, and this is my honor, and it's something that I deeply, deeply believe in. And to be tackled in the manner I was for walking across the street was not only an abuse of power, but unconscionable. If I'd have done that to somebody, I'd have been in jail.
No kidding. Well, it makes no sense. Why would they tackle you like that? I got that all on cam. Them tackling you to the ground, 2 of them jumping on your back, and then they gave you a jaywalking ticket.
Yeah, jaywalking.
Yeah,
I
we told
was
you, making money, that's their
jaywalking.
end game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a cha-ching.
Yeah.
So now,
How much money
just
do
to
we make?
illustrate, I'm going to play the video that Courtney shot. My friend Courtney, one of our organizers at Cannabis Day, she's amazing. She
Yes,
got
very
right into the
amazing.
pile here
It was crazy.
with the camera, with the 24 frames per second. So we got some amazing video of this. You guys have to check this out. Now, this is Mr. Magnuson getting stomped on by the cops. Also, Bert. You'll see Bert trying to help Reg from Budzilla and other people, and then the cops break out the pepper spray. It's pretty brutal. So let's check this out. This is Cannabis Day, the
Cannabis
cops.
Day.
Here.
Go party.
Hold it for you.
Hey, the guy can't even fucking. You're hurting right now. Look, you're gonna bust the guy can't even. Look at that. You're not even gonna bust my rib, man. How can you stand for that? Towards the fucking riot? We support you, buddy. I am not resisting. Let them go. I'm not resisting nothing. I'm not Get up! You guys happy? Already missed it! Are you guys happy? Hey, put the spray away! I'm not interfering. I'm just telling you you're a piece of shit. That's all I'm telling you is that you're a piece of shit.
So it just goes on and on like that.
We're live. Joe, how you
Yeah, we're back.
Nah.
So there you go.
How you doing?
Yeah. So that's a bit of a little aggravating.
That's unreal.
Yeah, we're live on the show.
Yeah.
And I have Neil Magnuson standing behind me, and I have Johnny B back here now. Hi, Johnny B. Hovering in the background. Up Periscope. So, yeah, that video illustrates exactly how rough they were being with Neil, smashing him to the ground, and
Well, I think
with Bert. You see all those cops behind him. He's standing on the ground pleading for them to help, and then they just go crazy, and they're like, "Get that guy!" They all 10 guys jump on him.
Get him.
Yeah, and then one of the Budzilla guys runs up to try and help him, and they're like, "Get the fuck back!" Starts spraying, pepper spraying him too.
Sprayed the whole bunch of us.
It was brutal.
It was fun.
You know, I've seen riots like this in
was
Japan
old school
and China and
activism
stuff,
shit.
but never like this in Vancouver. Like, we're
It's
supposed
rare.
to be a peace-loving country.
Yeah, it's
and
odd.
The police are supposed to be there to inspire peace
Well,
and
we
lead by
have.
example. This is not an example that I want to teach my children.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it's not something you can tell your family
I just want
about.
to. So I wanted to bring Neil back up here because I wanted to talk about today
Neil,
and what happened today.
you want to
So
come
Neil,
back
let's
up and talk about city
let's
hall?
bring you up here.
Jeremiah, I do have to go.
Oh, okay, awesome,
And
man.
this-
Good work on everything.
Hey,
And,
and
hey,
it's been the first time I've been
putting
on
the
your
complaint
show.
in. Oh, it is too.
Yes, and probably a lot of people don't know who I am, but I am Pastor Robin of the Church of Holy Smoke.
There you go.
And
That's
I'm here
right.
for
Holy
you guys.
smoke.
I'm here for
Out
everyone.
White Rock. If you want
Yeah.
to become
Out
a
in White
member,
Rock.
I think you can sign
Yep,
up.
handing
Yes,
out his
come on up
leaflets
to
at the
White Rock.
rally
So
and
if you come out to White
brutalized
Rock,
by
you
the
sign up
cops.
as a member, and
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
and
so,
you
know
filed a
something?
police complaint about them cracking you up for the
Yeah,
jaywalking
and, I
ticket.
gave you a copy. You can share with your
That's
viewers.
right. Yeah, I have a
And
copy of it.
you know something? We all, as activists, do this every year. I've been in the business for the last 20 years, and I've been at every rally in the last 15. In all my years, I have never seen such a brutal response from a gang of terrorists.
No, it was
And
crazy.
that's all I can say. And every
Biggest
church
gang in the
has their demons. Well, I consider Mayor Gregor Robbins a demon. And he is the demon puppet
Well,
of the Antichrist, Stephen
No.
Harper.
well, I think that I have a weird opinion on the whole Gregor thing. I have a feeling Gregor probably doesn't like any of this. He probably doesn't want this to be
Gregor
happening.
Roberts a puppet.
Yeah. Well,
I'd say a
All
lot
the
Greg-
of
government,
in the-
federal government
see,
has
I'm not
to do
sure-
is say,
I'm not
Well,
really
you
sure
do
if it's
what
coming
we
from
say.
Gregor or
the
somebody
money
else.
men.
Yeah.
Press
Maybe
is
the
the
maybe
money.
the
Ottawa
city
goes to
managers.
Gregor Roberts and says, you do this or else we take your transfer payments away. You don't get no federal money for any programs.
Yeah. Well, they could do that, and the
They
federal.
could,
We know
yeah.
that the federal government has been threatening them.
Yep. So
I think
anyway,
all
I
of
do
this
have
is
to get
true.
going, my brothers,
For sure.
All right,
Take
my
care.
friend.
and I'll see you in
more, Pastor.
Saskatchewan.
For sure, you bet.
For sure.
Prairie Cup time.
Deal.
Prairie Cup. Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot. We have the sign behind us there, and I forgot to throw the shirt on before the show, but. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, you can still
Prairie
duck
Cup.
don't mind if I hug
out
you?
and put the shirt on. Nobody will
Oh
mind.
hell yeah! Well, I will. Give me a sec here. When we
The
play
next
another
video.
Neil, today the protest
Hall.
continued, and Bert, why don't you take us through what Bert wanted to do and what he did down there, and what you did right after that whole thing happened.
Bert Easterbrook was the hero of the Stanley Cup riots. It was Father's Day on the Sunday after the riots when his picture was on the front cover, preventing a guy from starting a car on fire, and it said heroes and villains, and Bert was the hero. Very proud day for his father, Dave, or Guppy as we know him. And Bert got an award for that. He got the highest award that a civilian can get for heroism.
Right, there's
in
the
our
famous
country.
picture of him like knocking motherfuckers out.
Yeah,
Cocking,
Yeah.
buddy.
you know he's one of the
I'm gonna
best.
get that picture up so people can see it.
I'm so happy to
Oh,
know
that's
this
a
man.
great
He's a great Canadian. His grandfather was a police officer, and he's proud of that, and he has great concern over policing and how that's done, and so he was given that award. And then here on Wednesday, Cannabis Day, when he saw that there was another mob that was out of control and that was assaulting people, he went again to the aid of the person being assaulted, which was me.
Yep.
And he himself got assaulted by this mob. But the problem is, this isn't a mob that you can report to the police and have them deal with. This mob was the police. And
Yep.
Bert was very, very disappointed about that. And I know Bert well, and I understand how seriously he takes these things. And he could not, in good conscience, keep that award, having had happened to him what just happened. And he decided that he was going to take his award to City Hall, and in a symbolic ceremonial gesture to express his outrage, burn that award. And that is what he did today. Many of us thought that perhaps the burning of it was perhaps could be taken as something violent and extreme and not taken well by some in the mainstream. And we did present Bert with the idea of not doing that, or giving the city and the police a chance to make a public apology in return for him just handing it back to them instead. But he's a very principle-based person, and he had his own opinion of that, and it was his call to make. And I thought that in a very respectful way, non-violent way, he returned that award cleansed of the shame that he felt it now had through the burning process. And that happened at City Hall today.
He rolled it into a big joint, it looked like.
Well, we thought about putting it into a bong.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what happened today.
Left it on the front
I mean,
step.
this is not something frivolous. This is not a bunch of stoners doing something silly.
No.
This is a very principled, good Canadian patriotic citizen who takes very seriously this issues, and serious enough to do what he did today, which must have been a very difficult thing for him to
Sure,
do.
it would have been.
Yeah. So
Here, is this your water? I am so
It
fucking
is,
thirsty.
yeah.
I'm going
It's
to take
now
a
your
slam
water.
of this water. God damn. Now, I wanted to play a little bit more of the footage that we have from the... so anyways, we were... Wait,
want any of
before
the
we play the footage, let's continue the story. We talked about what Bert did. Now, Bert did that. We actually advanced a little bit onto the lawn of the City Hall, a little bit further up the stairs, and decided to go inside.
Yeah.
So tell people about what you did, Neil.
Well, they actually stood intimidating, sort of, and trying to block, kind of, the doors to City Hall. But we were chanting on our way to those doors that this is a public building, we're the public, and we have every right to go in there. And they did not prevent anybody from going in. Some people didn't want to go in. Bert didn't feel comfortable going in. But many of us went in there, and we walked up the stairs to the third floor and into the mayor's office. The mayor wasn't there, we were told. The secretary or clerk at the desk pretty quickly said she didn't know anything, he was not available. She left on the pretext of going to find somebody that would address us. We asked for somebody to come and talk to us. And she left on the pretext of that. We never saw her again. Security came and took over her position at the desk there and refused to answer any questions. We waited for quite a while. We were considering different options, perhaps occupying it indefinitely until the mayor would come and talk to us.
Right. We've
But-
done office occupations in the past for free mark activism.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
when
an
Mark
option.
was arrested,
Yeah,
we'd
all
go
the
and take over an office.
So we held the room.
Stephen
Hey,
Harper's
nothing wrong with that.
office.
Gets in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After
Rolled some
a,
fatties on the desk.
Oh, I'm
I'm
sure.
sure,
it'll-
yeah.
On the desk.
Yeah, it'll be on the news. Or
So we
and
stayed
actually,
there-
the Globe and Mail was tweeting about it. Others were talking to us about it. Actually, Mike from the Globe and Mail said he watched us on the live feed and said we did a great job. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, we occupied it for quite a while. We became pretty convinced nobody was coming to talk to us. We decided that when John Conroy arrived, we'd go out and take part in his little press conference. But we kept a person in there and another person at the door so we could still have access if we decided to occupy it. Like you say, John Conroy, I guess he didn't understand. It seems strange to me that he wouldn't have, but he only really shows up at our rallies to do a quick speech, and I guess he hasn't paid attention to what we've been saying over the years here. that we sell cannabis openly on these days because that's the moral obligation that we feel, that's the law we want to break.
Yes.
And we're insistent upon it. We are confident in the fact that we're not harming anybody by doing that.
Yeah.
And so
We
I
wanna
think he was
show
a bit surprised to hear that.
alternative. We want to
Yeah.
give an example to people of what an actually legal marketplace for cannabis looks like,
Yeah.
and that it doesn't harm people and doesn't hurt people.
Yeah, exactly. And we've done that. All 64 people went to hospital on our 420 rally last year, which was over the top with attendance.
Yeah.
Probably 50 or
That's 'cause we
60,000
brought them
people
there
during the course of
for
the day.
dehydration in an ambulance.
But I think we've covered that there was no one seriously injured in any way.
No.
Most of it was dehydration, perhaps food poisoning. Half of them never even got admitted to hospital. They decided to go home instead. Those that didn't spend the night. And as I say, there's no one they can put forward and say this person was harmed, by cannabis at your event. That's never happened, and we've been holding these events for like 20 years.
Yeah, it's true. So now, one thing that really kind of pissed me off about what they said when we were there after they attacked you and grabbed you, that we have actual film footage of that happening. They told the media, one, that you were selling to youth, and that's
Yeah.
why they busted you.
Yeah, the youth thing.
And two, that we swarmed them.
That's
what
they
they
might
said.
be accurate on that if they're talking about what happened after they, horribly
no. They
assaulted
said,
us.
No. They
No,
said
I know.
we
They're saying it
swarmed.
was ahead of time.
Yeah.
There was
We
no
didn't swarm
swarming
them.
of anybody.
We didn't swarm
pushed
them
back
anyway.
across
And
the
these
street.
people
Yeah,
have
we
guns.
didn't push anybody, though.
These
we did not
people
touch them.
are
We never touched
trained.
them.
No,
They
nobody
were
was-
big. They have guns. They have
Pepper
tasers.
spray.
They have pepper spray. They have a whole bunch of weapons that they can use. They're intimidated by a bunch of people holding joints and bongs.
Yeah.
Like, what world are they from? This was well pre-planned by them. They intended on saying what they said, whether it happened or not. I sold to youth. I didn't sell to anybody I thought was under 17. I certainly didn't sell to a kid. I would never do that. And so that's what they planned on saying, is we intervened in the Cannabis Day event or protest because they were selling to youth, because that's the complaint they get every
Minors.
year. And that was their plan.
They
That's
also-
what they've done.
They also pulled that before there was a multitude of people down there. Like, there was only about 300 or 400 of us at that time, as
Yeah.
opposed to 3,000 or 4,000 of us.
I should have waited, I
Right.
guess, but the main cop told me that they were going to be realistic about the understanding that people were going to sell cannabis.
Yeah.
So
The constable
I-
came
they
down and told
told
us
us that all the
that
whole
civil
way, man.
disobedience is okay. He's like, if you guys want to be civilly disobedient, that's okay. Yeah, that's what he told us.
In all my years of going to these rallies, we have had police there in increasing numbers as the years have gone on. They've always stayed to the perimeter, and they have always not only assured me throughout the day in several conversations that they were not there to arrest anybody, they were only there to keep us safe, and that's what they've done for all these years. There was a complete reversal in that policy this year. They were there to harm us. They brought violence to our event and want to blame us for it,
Yeah.
and this is not going to fly.
No. And then, and their attitude is that, well, we should have complied with everything they told us. Well, why have they been leaving us alone for so many years just to this year crack down on one guy selling pot and then leave the rally alone for the rest of the day?
Yeah, go to the perimeter.
And guess how
stay
many?
out there.
Everybody was still selling pot. As soon as they left, we went
You know
right
the
back to
real-
selling weed.
all day.
All
The
day
real
long.
despicable thing about this is what they're saying is that they're trying to protect the children with these actions.
Right.
And what they're really doing is they're using the children as an excuse for violence against us. I know Joe Ford is here, and he talks about how they're using children as a human shield to protect them and their actions of violence against our community. And that is really despicable. I'm outraged and offended greatly that they would accuse me of selling to a minor. Now, cannabis doesn't hurt kids. I don't believe it does.
Right.
But I don't believe that anyone has a right to provide anything like that, and cannabis would be on the low end of that scale for sure, but anything like that to someone who's a kid, because it's their parents' responsibility, and you're really violating that realm of that
For
parent
sure.
and child.
No,
So I'm
people
serious
have
about that in my
personal
life.
responsibility, and a young, a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old has a personal responsibility. That person gets to choose for themselves what they consume.
Yeah.
Hey,
Damn
when I was 15
Yeah.
years old, I was choosing for myself, and if my
Yeah.
parents didn't like what I was doing, it was their responsibility to take care of that.
Yeah.
Not some other person in society's responsibility.
And if a parent understands the
problem.
dynamics of how to do that, usually they understand that trying to just prohibit and ban is the opposite of what's going to actually
Right.
work for them. That there's education that can take place that can make a child and a person and a youth understand the situation and make a much more informed choice about what it is that they want to choose. And that's the route to go as a parent. But parents know that when you say, no, you can't do that, that there's a gene that we have in us, I'm sure. We're born with this rebellious thing to that, because freedom is so important to human beings, that's the reaction to that type of force. So, it doesn't work when parents do it. It certainly doesn't work when public servants do it.
No, definitely.
It's crazy how if we perform any kind of action like that is criminal and can be charged.
Yes.
But when they perform, it's a duty of their job.
If
I don't know
Reverend
exactly
Robin...
that double standard. They should be upholding the law. It should apply as much as they uphold it, right?
Yeah.
Should apply more to them because they are an actual agent of the government at the moment of their
Robin
actions.
got a ticket for jaywalking.
How much is that ticket, by the way?
I don't know, but the penalty was far more than that because they threw him to the ground in a brutal fashion. He's an elder with health issues. He was in a wheelchair for a long, long time. He's just gotten himself out of that wheelchair through the use of cannabis and rehabilitation. And so they threw him to the ground brutally. If Robin had walked up to a cop that he thought was doing something offensive, like jaywalking, and grabbed him and threw him to the ground, put him in handcuffs, what do you think would have happened to Robin?
Yeah.
Whatever would have happened to Robin for doing that is certainly probably not going to happen to that peace officer that we pay to hold the public's trust to keep that from happening. I think when a person like that is the person that does something like that they should be held to a higher standard. They should be penalized harsher for that. They're not your average citizen assaulting somebody.
They don't. They get suspended with pay, shit like that instead.
It's crazy.
I mean, no justice is really served, I think, on the back end of all of that. I mean, we'll see.
Well, you know about justice, right?
Well, yeah.
Justice is just us, and that ain't you and me.
Yeah, no shit, brother.
Yeah.
No shit.
There's another game.
There was a lot of proof of that on cannabis.
Yeah.
I'm going to play this video clip right now. This is, in this clip you can hear the announcer saying the police said that we swarmed them while they show the footage of them swarming you.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Okay, so let's check this out here, and then we'll come back. This is just a short one.
Handcuffs to subdue Cannabis Day protesters at the art gallery. They'd been warned police weren't going to tolerate pot dealers gathering for an unsanctioned event on a day when families are pouring into the downtown core for Canada Day festivities. Good evening and happy Canada Day. For most Canadians, July 1st is an opportunity to celebrate our great country. But for a determined group of marijuana activists, this is also something they call Cannabis Day. And this time the day turned ugly. Our Scott Roberts is live at the Vancouver Art Gallery tonight. Scott.
Well, Mike, as you can see behind me, this protest has pretty much cleared out tonight, but only after a very eventful day, a heated confrontation between protesters and police that left two men in custody. All-out chaos at the Vancouver Art Gallery today. Dozens of police officers clashing with protesters. Some thrown to the ground, others hit with pepper spray.
So I just got pepper sprayed by the police. Why are you assaulting me?
Several demonstrators were handcuffed. Officially, Vancouver police say two were arrested.
I suggest you walk away.
It all started with this exchange. Police warning this organizer not to openly sell marijuana. He refused. 13 minutes later, he's on the ground in handcuffs. Other protesters trying to stop the arrest.
They started ripping, tearing people apart, stepping on them.
Police say it was their officers who were swarmed and forced to act. But tension had been rising all morning. Some people given tickets with little explanation.
They just started writing tickets.
It all comes as Vancouver is in the pot spotlight, a week after becoming the first Canadian city to license and regulate medical marijuana dispensaries, openly defying the federal government. As for this event, it openly defied the city that tried to shut it down 3 weeks ago, worried over the size and public safety. 3 months ago, 64 pot users were hospitalized with severe symptoms at a similar rally.
We're not here to have a fight. We're here just to show a presence and to protest our rights.
And protest they did throughout the day.
Do you want it?
The mood mellowing considerably after a morning of mayhem.
Quite a scene there, Scott. Have any charges been laid?
Charges are likely now against not two people. We just got an update from VPD. It's instead 4 people that were actually arrested today and taken into custody. Again, charges are likely going to be laid against all 4 of those charges, including trafficking and obstruction. Mike.
All right, Scott Roberts live at the Art Gallery tonight. Thanks.
All right. There we go.
Fun.
Did you hear that 64 people were sent to the hospital with severe symptoms? Very severe.
Yeah, severe. Being stoned severe.
Yeah.
Those symptoms weren't any more severe than all the other people that had severe hunger.
Yeah.
Not much. Anyway. I don't want to minimize it. Sometimes if you eat cannabis, you can really not feel very good.
That's true.
But it won't kill you.
It will not kill you.
Not like alcohol.
Ever.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of footage that Chris Goodwin from VC collected on the day of. That's up online right now on our YouTube page. That's youtube.com/Pot TV Network.
Well, there's a clip of me schooling that cop from the UK.
Let's see this one.
Well, we ran over later in the day to help these kids way off because they were being harassed. But when we got this guy was complaining and...
Let's watch this one. Whose is this? I don't even know whose this is. Oh, Bert's in the house.
Bert's in the house. Hey,
Bert's in the house. Hey, well, Bert, why don't we talk to you as soon as we come back? We're going to play this. Yeah. We'll play a 2-minute video clip, and then we'll get you up here and talk. And
actually, this is a really good time.
Yeah.
This is a really good time, actually, just for a moment to talk a little bit about me being in a paddy wagon and being driven away and then a jail cell and not knowing what went on after. I didn't know what had happened. So when I got home that night and I started looking at these videos and I saw the response from our community to these bullies, I couldn't believe it. I was in tears of joy. I was screaming and yelling, man, oh man, that's so awesome because, that is the right thing to do and we did it in spades. This is a great example to all Canadians to stand up against these bullies and not let this happen. With some unity, you can back them up across the street and make them go away. So Bert was part of that as well. Come on in here, buddy. I'll let you sit here and then they're going to show a little video. And
yeah. Well, here, I'll show the video now, and then we'll talk to Bert on the other side here. Check it out. This is with Jeff and the dude.
I don't know. I only saw my big mug on it.
I've been to jail for marijuana, as I said earlier. I've been to 34 different prisons. I've actually been arrested on 23 separate occasions. And some of those, like my last 5-year stint in the United States, involved 6 prisons. So I've seen my share of prisons. Well, the police were acting aggressive and militant from the dawn, from early this morning, and then eventually they pepper sprayed people, tackled some activists. Allegedly, these people were selling marijuana to someone underage as the pretense, but what a violent response to even such a trivial accusation as that. When we have heroin injection sites sponsored by the city, methamphetamine injection sites, we've got bars with thousands of people drinking alcohol, but they've actually spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and double time and a half today on a holiday to police an event that doesn't need any policing, and so they went looking for a problem and they created one, and then they were probably so embarrassed they had to withdraw, and so the event has actually returned to the very peaceful, nice thing it always is for 20 years.
Anybody want some Montreal black hash? We also got some Afghan Hawaiian. We also got some drink.
There was a protest with a bunch of the protesters being arrested for cannabis possession, I understand. And one of them is a member of my church. So as their pastor, I had to stand up for him and try and support him. They arrested me for standing in front of the police wagon, which I agree I did for the stand up for the support of my brothers. But on the same token, they released me with and I've got the jaywalking ticket in my pocket. The Vancouver City Police gave me a jaywalking ticket.
All right, so jaywalking ticket. I love that. It's Bert on the couch. Brother. Our man. Let's get the Shiner cam over here
the
too.
The
Shiner cam. Let's show off that nice badge of honor you got there. Arr, scrapping. That's right. Wow.
And the funny thing is just on the side, and it started to swell. But I'm just trying to do the Mikey Tyson thing, man.
Yeah. Give that man a microphone. Do you have a mic over there?
I do.
Oh, you do. Okay, good.
There we go.
I thought it was a little bit more sensitive.
No, it's not.
Gotta yell.
Your burly voice.
So,
your Cannabis Day voice.
So how did that happen yesterday? How did you get involved in the scuffle? What happened?
Basically, people...
Or 2 days ago.
People were saying, hey, it looks like they're about to go pinch Neil, and I look over, and sure enough, there's a whole lineup of them in behind the 2 officers that were, quickly going up to him, so... yeah, just run down the stairs, and by the time I got there, they were already hands-on, so yeah, I had to blow my way through a wall of people and just hug on to Neil. And at that point, yeah, the cops were doing whatever they could for, pain compliance and choking or whatever to try and get me to get off the pile. But eventually they got to the point where, they just had Neil by the throat and I had him by the waist. And it's like, either I hold on and Neil chokes or, Neil just goes through the process and whatnot. And that's when I heard Ron screaming for help under the pile anyways. So at that point, I went over to help Ron. And by then, after the 3 times of beaking off to the officer about his really ineffective pain compliance moves, he finally buggered off, and that's when I went to go help Neil as they were dragging him away, and got pepper sprayed in the face, and noticed that there's somebody else down, and I'm like, okay, if somebody else is down, they're probably about to lunge on him.
Yeah, here's the
I went to give him a
scene.
hug, and that's when the 5 cops there decided, hey, there's the big guy, and...
You were like trying to help. I think it was Reg or somebody from Budzilla.
Yeah.
And they're on the ground there, and they're, you can see them all gather around you. You're like pleading with them for help.
I'm like, what the hell are you doing, spraying me in the eyes, guys? And
then they look. You can see them all plotting to grab you from behind, and they're like, just grab this guy, get him up.
And it's like, sorry, bud. And basically, once
do they really need that many
Reg
guys?
got pulled out of there. I could fight all I want, but I don't want to make a scene for the community. So at that point, let it go. Go through the process and let these guys have their day, because otherwise I'm just going to start flinging people.
they had
there's no point in getting to that level. So.
Well, and so today, Bert, you decided. Now, of course, we know about what happened we talked earlier on the show a little bit about your heroic activity at the Stanley Cup riots.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened there. What happened at the riots? We showed the picture of you, like the crazy uppercut shot or whatever.
Yeah, that was actually after watching Game 7 here at CC, and I figured, maybe if I got out there just as the game was ending, maybe I could have a look-see to see if there's maybe any undercover or whatever trying to start anything and start a riot, right? But by the time I got out the door, you could tell it was already in full swing. There was already a pillar of smoke coming up the street there. So at that point, threw Talia the keys and got her to go hide in the truck, and off I went to go see what was going on, and got there just as the first vehicle was being put out, and the second vehicle was being surrounded by VPD, so that way people wouldn't burn it. But once the line got breached and people started rocking the car, that's when I went in, kind of not shoving people away, but waving them away, because most people
you were
just
defending they were trying to flip the truck or burn it or smash it or something.
Yeah, most of them, they were just looking for something to kick. Obviously it was their first time at something like this, and they just wanted to go out and have their riot moment, right? So most of them buggered off pretty easily, right? And then there's the ones that just really want to cause trouble, and they're busy with beating up the vehicle, so they're not hurting anybody. And it was once I had noticed that somebody had thrown a lit newspaper into the passenger seat that I actually
picked it up and threw it out.
I had to do it twice, and then all of a sudden, Buddy goes and throws it back in a third time, and I'm like, Bud, you don't even know what you're doing. If this domino falls, like the second vehicle gets lit up, this city's gonna burn, right? So I grabbed him and I gave him a bit of a smack, So
a bit of a smack.
Well, I didn't want to hurt him, right? I just had to get the message across that this won't be tolerated, and you got to go down, right? Beyond that, if I knock the guy out and he falls and gets trampled on and killed, right? Like, how am I the good guy there, right? So at this point, you're getting your lesson, and if you don't learn it from that, well, then obviously law enforcement's going to do their job too. Yeah. But chances are he's been shamed for life, and I hopefully he manages to make things right and live past this, right? So everybody makes their fuck up in life, so. Hopefully everybody's learned from that situation.
So after all that happened,
fucking up.
After that whole thing happened, you were recognized by not only the press but by the mayor's office or the city.
City, probably across the country, because we heard about that in Saskatoon.
Yeah, but it was
Cannabis.
No kidding.
Living up to that name this week.
Vancouver superhero.
It was Gregor Robertson and Jim Chu. They had both done the Chief Constable award ceremony there and awarded me the Award of Merit. So, but to be honest, when they were awarding me, after having seen what they had done within the cannabis community and the things that they had done for abuses within the downtown east side, it really didn't sit well with me that they're handing me this plaque, but it felt like there was a black cloud hanging over me. Like, this is going to get pulled as soon as, you get slagged as a cannabis or a drug user or whatever, right? So it honestly felt very hollow, right? And knowing that their policies have gotten better over the years, I was able to, just go with it. And, okay, yeah, times are changing. But for what happened on Cannabis Day, their stronghold tactics, that are very much probably run by Mr. Thievin Harper.
Thievin Harper.
Yeah, Thievin Harper.
I love it.
Sure. Yeah, honestly, I think they just felt like they're probably being bullied into the situation. We have to do something. And as you saw in the morning, they came in all, bold and brassy, and it's like, I'm sorry, we've got almost 20 years of cultural heritage here. Yeah, nonviolent protest here.
Yeah.
Who are you to come in here, puff up your chest when at the last rally, you guys were rolling through here with smiles and, just making sure that nobody's having a rough time. So what happened?
The first Cannabis Day that I went to 5 years ago, we were taking pictures with the cops while I was like doing open weed sales, like in a tent, like 2 feet away.
Yeah.
I went over and posed with them and stuff. I got pictures with them. They were super cool.
Now, I'm going to bring up the Olympics.
How can they be that chill? 5 years later, they're beating my friend in front of me, pepper spraying us all.
No, and that's why this is such a brutal thing, because we're used to the behavior of the Vancouver cops being cool with our rallies, totally walking around with smiles on their faces and allowing us to sell marijuana openly. That's part of the whole thing. We did it with their blessing. Even before this rally, just 3 weeks, we were told by the city of Vancouver that if we found a different location other than the art gallery, they would be okay with us selling weed. That's what they said. Yeah. So all of a sudden now they're changing their whole story. Oh, you're selling weed. We're going to arrest you. Even though just less than 3 weeks ago they said it was okay to sell weed.
Because they know we couldn't have changed it in time. Yep. You put unrealistic goals in front of people and then get upset when they don't reach it. And then show up to enforce the law because you want to see it change. I don't think that's an effective way to police or manage a situation like this.
No.
Because 4 fucking 20 is going to be a nightmare.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's the mismanagement makes you feel like it was a C-51 setup at that point, Who was, rustled in order to, pop up, and next thing you know, facial recognition, blah, blah, blah. Who were the instigator, right? So,
they had all these crazy cameras everywhere, and one of the cameras was on top of a building next door with a bunch of wireless equipment on it, pointing right at us. And then there was this guy. Look at this guy. This guy was there, pointing his camera in our face, coming right up early.
Those guys were there at like 7 in the morning.
And he looked aggressive and
we
not
got
very
there at
happy.
6 o'clock.
All hat pulled down, glasses guy.
Yeah, remember me and you talked to him at 7.
No,
we had a nice little chat about how the day was going to go. And no, I'm peaceful. We're not.
They're like, no, we're hanging out. We just want to hang out. We have a right to be here. They said.
Why do you have that camera?
Yeah. They're like, we have a right to record of you, dude.
We're gonna find out. Sure.
Why are you recording us?
I said, you have a right, but do you have a purpose?
Yeah. What's your purpose?
Yeah. Our purpose.
You're gonna go watch that? What were we saying? You're gonna go watch that with movie popcorn?
Yeah.
You're gonna go sit down.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday night movie.
Yeah. No, it was pretty brutal. All of it was very combative from the beginning. As soon as we showed up, the tone was that they were unhappy with us and they were going to be combating us no matter what it was we were doing there.
So the city officials, all they did was go in and say, take your tent down, and then when nobody did that, they just left.
Yeah, they left. They came in, tried to get Neil to take his tent down, kind of puffed up against his chest. Hey, the fences are down?
Get the fuck out
of
here.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
Get the fuck out of here.
They didn't actually do any construction then?
Nothing.
No, they just parked the tree topping vehicle in there, so that way it looked like they were doing something.
And so did they do any tree topping?
Well, there was a couple little piles of, it looked like gravel and whatnot. Yeah.
Wow.
Of course.
Wow.
Well,
no,
we know sorry, that the whole thing was planned to stop us.
And
that's why. Yeah, even Sadhu Johnson was even in the press saying early that, there's going to be construction there, and we know that they moved that construction back. It didn't have to be done till the 13th of July, so they pushed it back. Yeah, no, it seems like it's very political, and they're trying to pretend that it's not, but it is. Yeah.
So, talk about how they are
Oh yeah, the
in
people at
City-
City Hall, they like smoking like pot. Yeah, of course they do.
Of course they do.
Of course they like to smoke pot.
Gregor.
This whole
Gregor.
thing, I'm not sitting on camera, but this whole thing, and like I said, Jeremiah, this was pre-planned. This was orchestrated. They had cameras set up. They had everything. They've never put cameras in their faces like they did.
No, never.
Like Jason Wilcox said under our charter, please stand at the thing. We're peacefully protesting. They left when they were threatened under the charter and under certain rights. They kept walking away, but at one point they surrounded that building. This was pre-planned. They put a big media on it like that we had done something wrong. Of course, they picked on someone like Neil or David Malma Levine because they know we're going to stand up for our rights. Right beside Bert, I watched Neil sit down. You sat down beside him, and everybody jumped. The cops, and they could have grabbed one or two, and that was the difference. When we see 30 cops jumping on people, me as in being injured and post-traumatic and all that other stuff, I see something's going on, we get confrontational because we want to help our fellow brothers, and that's what happened. They caused something that was not there for us.
Violent.
You know what? It was wrong. It was disgusting, and I have a lot.
To be here. This is the good old days of the Vancouver Art Gallery.
There you go. The good old days.
Look at the smiles on those faces here. And then as we scroll down, you can see.
Big thing of weed.
And I think I saw myself
that's
covered.
Day there.
Yep.
Yeah, well.
They arrested cannabis warriors. I think I saw that headline on global news, and I was screaming that in the microphone there, Bert. I said they arrested our warriors.
Yeah. No, it's a brutal thing. And then so after the whole thing happens, after cops arrest everyone, then the rally goes right back to being exactly what it was before.
Yeah, it was so chill.
Went,
Someone showed up later and was like, "Were the cops were here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, it's super chill right now." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, it sure the fuck wasn't earlier."
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, "Oh."
Yeah,
but yeah, somebody just was like, "Yeah, you sure something happened down here?"
Yeah, big party, and we went back to doing what we always do. Here's the shot.
They're picking on the wrong people, man. All we want to burn in the city is joints, man. You know what are they trying to do? Turn these into torches, man. It's like it's pure provocation, and it's sad because they have progressed so much over the years, right? That for them to pretty much shit the bed like this and do this is insulting. You know, all it does is make everybody suspect whether or not we're just trying to be marked for the feds, blah, blah, blah. You know, no
tons
doubt,
of tax
no
dollars
doubt.
wasted.
You
Tons.
know, like, absolute waste
man,
of
there
money.
was only like 15 of us at 6 in the morning. There was like 20
way
of them.
more cops than people.
Yeah,
they tried to ticket us to make up for those costs,
all those
right?
city guys were there too. They're all working on Canada today. You know that's double time and a half. Like, holy fuck.
Vapor Central in the chat just said the Supreme Court has noticed the police near presence causes tension at rallies.
Oh,
So
you
the
think?
proximity of police close to the Chris, what Supreme Court case was that? I think it's Chris. I'm pretty sure it's Chris.
Probably.
I'd like to find out more about that because not only they were really being aggressive about getting close to us.
Yes.
And when they were walking down, when the thing was first starting, they were walking right along the front of the stage, as close as possible, and literally glaring at us, really strongly glaring.
Because that
and
way
me and
they
you
can
were standing there, we're like,
that way
what's
they can
going
get the
on with
emotional
this?
reaction on camera,
And then they came
can
right up
record
to us,
it,
and they were literally almost puffing up their chests, standing above us on the hill, all in four of them just standing
how you react.
there.
And
And I went up to him and I said, "What the hell are you guys doing here? Why are you guys in the middle of our thing?" And then after I harassed them for a bit, they ended up taking off. And then that was within an hour, they came back and arrested Neil. So yeah, fuck, crazy shit.
No, I feel stupid for giving them the benefit of the doubt, saying that they were just walking through so that way they could, do their duty for the day. But it turns out, they rallied up.
I told them
why do they have to
my
walk
name
so
right away
close
with their little camera when I first saw them. I'm like, yeah, I'm Jeffrey Ryan Lundstrom.
Yeah. Who wants the first bong rip here? We should be hitting
Bong
this thing.
rip.
Got Duchess here. Anybody? Boys?
I'll have a
Bert?
fucking bong rip.
Oh, yeah. Here, pass it to Bert
rip?
first.
All right.
Give it to the injured hero over there. And we need a lighter.
Anybody got a light?
Who's got a lighter? Jade has one.
Jade's got a lighter. All right.
Bam. Good toss.
I burned the award with.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, he's got the award-burning lighter.
The award-burning lighter.
Yeah. So we
Bluey.
were there at the front of City Hall, and you had a little metal bucket, and you gave a nice speech. I told you, I suggested to you last night, I thought burning it was maybe a bad idea because it's a violent, burning something is destroying it. We're non-violent activists. But in the end, I thought what you said, and the whole production was done in a very respectful way.
It was very respectful.
And, we are pot activists, so we do a lot of burning of things, and you kind of roll the paper up and sort of look like a joint and stuff. So, no, I thought you did a good job of it, and it was a respectful thing, and it was a peaceful act. It wasn't a violent act. And, in a way, I think it was symbolizing this city burning bridges with this thing. Why are they doing this? It just seems so odd that they're trying to aggravate our community right at the time when we're all supposed to be working together on this whole dispensary hearing thing. You know, and it seems like the city wants to be doing it out of both sides of their face. They're walking this line where, you know, they're saying that they're helping our community and moving forward progressively by allowing these dispensaries, and then they're going to close half or more of them.
Yeah.
So is that really moving forward, or is that shutting half the fucking things down?
Yeah,
you can't be both.
Two steps forward, 10 steps back.
Exactly.
It doesn't fucking make any sense.
Like I said, allow them to set up like any other business. And if they run horribly, well, guess what? The public will complain. You know, then you can intervene just like any other bylaw or, you know, city infraction. So why the bigotry? Why the stereotyping? There has not been the evidence to justify increased costs for business licenses or anything like this, or insurance and whatnot. So just like any other business selling a supplement, that's basically how I think this whole thing should be regulated. You know, the whole justification of 300 meters. Are you kidding me? Are you going to do the same thing for a corner store that has cigarettes?
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure that there's been you know, mom and pop pharmacies that have been within the same amount of distance too, right?
What
so
about,
it's like,
what about alcohol stores?
Yeah, context.
Oh yeah, sure.
Down to.
No. We brought this up to the city council. The whole 300 meter thing is totally destructive. And you know, on Denman where I live, I have there's a school right next to where I live. Across the street from that is a bar. Across the street from, like, right next to that is a liquor store. They just set up a super liquor store right next to that across the street.
Super booze.
Yeah, major liquor store.
Right.
There's restaurants there with open patios where the kids walk by.
Yeah.
And they're drinking Bellinis and cocktails on the fucking balconies, and they're saying to us that they're worried about brownies and pot and lollipops.
Or they're able to sell wine.
Well,
yeah.
How much hard drugs are hustled on East Hastings every day?
Yeah.
You can't go arrest a crack dealer over a fucking pot dealer?
Yeah, no
Get your
kidding.
Even then, why destroy a person's life? Why not deal with the root cause, right?
Yes.
No,
I
it's
hate
all
the
backwards
symptom
and wrong.
attacking, but yeah, so many
It's
people are
peaceful,
afraid to actually
we're
deal
peaceful,
with
and it's a harmless
root
plant.
issues, yeah.
And it definitely shouldn't be this way. It's not fair, and it's brutal. It's unjust, but we're going to keep fighting. And basically that's, you know, in a way, it's weird because right at the same time this dispensary thing is happening, which, you know, the world, everybody's watching this dispensary thing right now. And everybody's saying, oh, yeah, Vancouver's being so great about it. But actually, hidden within is some pretty nasty stuff.
Yep.
And I think until the city councilors finally actually do something about this, we have to continue our activism and target them directly. Now,
it's always fighting monopolization, and the sad thing is right now it's all going towards, you know, the rich politician buddies or you know, whoever's connected, right? And those who are left, you know, in grassroots are all left to struggle or be crushed right now. And sadly, you know, there's no genocide in medicine. Thank you very much, and that's basically what they're trying to do.
Yeah, you know, I think that we need to
keep the pharmaceutical companies rich.
I hate to say this. I hate to even bring up this name at all, but I think we need to take a page from Pam McCall from Sam. We need to take a page from Pam from Sam, who relentlessly harasses our government officials to get them to work against us. She calls them like 7 times a day. Well, you know, when we were in the hearing, they literally said, we have 7 letters from one person. Every day we were there was another 7
So that's
letters.
what we need to do is hammer them.
Right, and what I'm planning on doing with Cannabis Culture, city council meetings. But what I want to do is I want to have a campaign where every week we have a new target in our campaign to phone jam and to protest. And each week we pick a new personality or person here in Vancouver, like Gregor himself, or Sadhu Johnson at the city manager's office, Penny Ballum. We can go each one of the city councilors themselves, and what we do is we phone jam them. And we call in and we make them get the message with all of our force behind us. Each week, who is it this week? This is who we focus on until each one of them has been on the slate. Letters. And the phone thing really works.
And
when we put out these phone jams and people jam the lines,
yeah.
People really, they can't ignore that. And it kind of shuts down their business for a while. So that's what they don't like. The other people we should be doing this to are the BIE, the group, the business people in Vancouver who got together to oppose us. And there's others. The people who have been going to the Coastal Health Authority here in Vancouver, who were the ones who apparently leaked that information or went to the press and said 64 hospital visits from our cannabis thing and tried to make that into a big deal. Well, we need to target these people.
Stats on any of
all
the
of them.
alcohol-related events, or even just one night on Granville.
That's right. Well, whatever numbers we can get. Yeah, we've done that before. We actually called Rob Nicholson's house.
That's
Remember
awesome.
Justice Minister Rob
That's
Nicholson?
awesome.
We published his personal phone number
That's
on Cannabis
hilarious.
Culture, and we called his house because who cared? What are we? Are we afraid to make these people uncomfortable? That's civil disobedience, and it's
damn
nonviolent.
right.
People said we were
are
being
afraid
rude.
to make them uncomfortable.
People said we were being rude by phoning them at home. Fuck that.
That's
What's
good.
rude is throwing our friends in jail for nonviolent crimes.
Destroying our
no
families,
That's fucking
man.
rude.
Crime.
You know, how
Throwing
many
anybody in
generations of
jail.
families
Yeah.
need to
Victim,
be
no
destroyed?
Yeah.
Plain
No.
and simple.
I wanna say
rude
one
is the
thing.
worst.
Selling weed has no
If that's the worst we
victim.
do, being
I want to
rude.
say if Bill C-51 is for Canadians and to protect them, then the cops are the terrorists, and we need protection from them.
Hell yeah. Well, who do you
Starting
go
to
to
feel
after
that way,
that?
sadly.
Yeah.
You know, I know there's a lot of good people within law enforcement, but
revolution.
sadly they've been either duped, lied to, or
Cannabis
just too scared to go
revolution.
against the thin blue line right now. And, you know, they need to know that the support is there, you know. If they are acting truly lawful, right, then their police unions should be protecting them. The public will protect them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sadly, you know, places down in the States, things are getting very ugly and very violent, you know, and I'm very proud of Vancouver for the level of activism that we have performed over the past few decades, because we've gotten it far away from the violence stage. That was in my father's era, you know, and luckily now we're at the paper and pen aspect of it. And every time that they push us towards violence, they just make themselves look foolish. Because why? We've done the long-term activism here, and thankfully, those that have put in the hours, you know, and suffered and sacrificed, now we're finally seeing the end of it, you know, and now is not the time to let them, you know, screw us over. Whether they beat us or not, I don't care. You know, it's time to do it clean and do it right.
You think in October, if the federal election goes our way, Trudeau maybe gets in, we might see legalization, put this all to rest?
Well, I think that's if Trudeau gets in, but I think that's a big if.
Yeah, that's a huge if.
I would
You think Harper will get another round?
Ooh, I think it's very possible. Very possible that Harper will get. I think Harper's a lot stronger than we think.
Well,
in a
I
lot
think
of
he
ways.
has a lot. He has a lot more money.
And
Well, the
I
more
also
aware
think
people
that there
become,
might be
the
a bit of an
weaker he
orange
becomes.
wave swooping through, which I applaud and would encourage. I love the NDP way, way more than I love any of the other. I don't love them, but I like them better than I like any of the other parties, including the Liberals overall. Except for their marijuana policy, which, as a marijuana activist, first and foremost here, that's why I've been supporting the Liberals. But I don't support the other shit the Liberals do. The Liberals are neoliberals. The shit they've done is use the economic system, just like the Conservatives have, to enslave us in a lot of different ways. The Liberal government were the ones who fucking did it to us in the first place. So we can't really forget and forgive that. I do like Justin a lot
Junior's
better.
going to
but
go against what Senior did.
Yeah.
The man, to be honest, I don't think has the balls to stand up against anybody, because isn't it rather convenient that his home gets broken into, you know, and then next thing you know, there's a terror bill for people to feel secure. It's like, no. You're never meant to feel secure there, bud. They shook you so that way you'd vote for this bill. And to be honest, I don't think he has the balls to stand up to his father. I don't even think you'd have the balls to stand up against me in a fucking ring with 3 of his other MPs. You know,
Yeah, probably
anybody
not.
who's got the balls to talk about being able to institute the Bank of Canada Act of 1934, talk about proper legalization, repealing of hemp restrictions, and actually talking seriously about joining the BRICS Union. To be honest, those are true leaders, right? The only leader right now that has the ovaries to talk about that is Elizabeth May, but sadly the Green Party doesn't have the numbers, but the idea can spread. And now as long as the NDP can pick up that ball and run with it, next thing you know, they're a la Leighton, right? You know, but I don't think Mulcair's got the stones to go against the big boys, because I'm sure he's worried he'll get cancered out just like Leighton.
Well, it's a serious.
I know that one's deep, but yeah,
I
I
can't
feel
help
that,
but have these nefarious conspiracy theories about things like Leighton when a
Steve
guy dies so
Jobs,
quick.
You know, anybody who's anti,
or Bob Marley.
Yeah, you know, anti-security state, and it's like, wow,
I'm
it
pretty
starts
sure
to
they
hit
can
home
give you
real hard
cancer.
right now. This is fascist Canada. You know, this isn't a what if anymore. This is real. This is the stuff that we were raised as children with Remembrance Day, lest we forget. We've watched it happen. You know, are we going to continue to let it happen, even though we have it on the books to save us? How stereotypically Canadian would that be if we just rolled over and let it happen? And it's like today, and even Canada Day or Cannabis Day, however you choose to recognize it, right?
Yeah.
That is a day of freedom, and if you don't stand up for your rights, you know, on a day like that, you will be bowled over.
For
you know?
sure.
Government is meant to be a vehicle of change, and you better be getting behind that wheel, steering, paying attention to where you're going, and have your foot on the gas and ready for the brake. Yeah. Otherwise, someone's either going to carjack your car, or who's going to cry about you crashing because you didn't steer the damn thing. You have to do something with it. You have to be a grown-up, get involved, learn, hear many angles of it, even something contradicting your own. Right? Why? Because if you can't knock down your own theories and humble yourself, you're never going to be able to hear the truth and actually spread it. So, yeah, now's the time, man. Age of the internet is wonderful, and, sure, they may be able to kill a messenger, but they can't kill the idea. So, yeah, get involved.
Absolutely true. And, Bert, good work today. I thought you did a great job. And
congratulations, brother.
Thanks for all your hard work, man, and for what you did at the Cannabis Day rally as well. Like, you sure took one for the team there.
Understatement.
Well,
yeah.
I was going to say, I'm sure it'd be worse if I was enlisted and had to have guns and whatnot. So I'd rather honorably
just walked in.
I'd rather
another
honorably serve at home with an activist by my side.
The Weed Warriors.
Marijuana mayhem special.
Cannabis criminals.
Cop rodeo clown.
Cop rodeo clown. Malmo
I like
Levine.
that one.
So
I like that one. Nice.
Yes. I was going to say, cannabis smoke being blown in your eyes after having pepper spray is actually very soothing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that pepper spray.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That stuff's nasty,
it was
that
wonderful.
pepper spray.
I turn around and there's a little crack there where, I'm feeling and smelling. Yeah, I hear the and I'm like, wait a second, I know that. I look over and I open my eyes and there I see somebody blowing smoke into my compartment. I'm like, yeah, thank you very much.
Some of our friends got it pretty bad with the assault and the pepper spray right in their eyes and stuff. Dave, I wanted to find out what happened to you when the cops put the hurt on you. I don't know if this couch can handle another one of you boys. Well, Bert, thanks, man.
Thanks, Bert.
Yeah.
We love you, brother.
Yeah, I love you, Bert.
Yes.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm happy, hungry, relaxed, inspired, and focused.
Nice.
So, well, that's all right. Dave.
Yo.
Dave, fighting with the cops.
Well, I wasn't fighting with them.
Hug power.
I didn't touch the police.
They were fighting you.
I hugged Neil, and then the police found out that I wasn't going to let go even after they kicked me a couple of times or kneed me in the leg. But Neil said, "Oh, man, I'm not doing too good. Just let go. I don't think I can handle much more." And I was like, "Okay, Neil. Your call," and I let go. I could have hold on to Neil for about 5 more minutes before they would have pried me off, but they would have probably damaged me more, and they certainly might have killed Neil. So
you couldn't see it from the videos, but it wasn't just a bunch of big guys in the circle. Carly Marley from the show,
you can't see the
my
girls
girlfriend,
in there,
she was in there too. She was arrested and held on to Neil. And Dominique, who was here earlier and just left, she was in
the
there
back of the paddy wagon, and then they just yanked her right back out and let her go.
Yeah.
It was like, no. We'll take all the guys. They'll look better in court.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
So my beef with the whole situation is that you can tell from watching the videos, the lead up to the arrest videos, where we're just talking with the cops. There's about 4 or 5 different conversations going on with police.
Yeah.
And at no time do they mention minors anything.
No.
They never mention it's not even an
issue.
That is something their PR guys thought up the next day when they were getting trounced in the press.
No, it was later in the day.
Later in that day?
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, they did not mention it to us, that was their concern.
They tweeted it.
And I didn't see anyone who looked that young hanging around at that time either.
No.
But even if Neil or someone had at any of the rallies had dealt to minors, there's no evidence that it's worse than caffeine, and nobody cares if caffeine is dealt to minors.
Wait 1 sec, though. Neil, were you charged with the possession for the purposes of trafficking or trafficking? You were charged with trafficking. Well, but that leads me to believe now. Well, yeah.
A buy.
Is there not an undercover officer required for you to be charged with trafficking in Canada?
It would require it.
Yeah, it would be. So they probably
again, doesn't that require an investigation? And
no, just a
they
sting
just
that could do it
in there.
Right there.
Okay, I was told that somebody asked one of the senior cops about that, and they said that they had visual evidence. They had seen themselves that I was exchanging money for weed.
The UK officer, the guy I talked to later in the day, he said they had video and watched you on video sell to the youth. And that's when they had decided to.
Okay, but
we got in a big
did
confrontation
they check their
later
ID?
in the day.
Did they check their ID? How do they know they're you?
I'm proud of myself. I sell weed. Hey, don't sell to kids.
Yeah, no shit. Well, I recovered.
And even if you did sell to kids, if an alcohol retailer sold to kids, they wouldn't tackle him. They'd give him a summons.
They'd give him a fine. He'd get a fucking fine.
I don't believe any of them do overnights or 9-hour stints in prison for selling alcohol to teens.
No, they get a fine.
So there's a different process. There's the second-class citizens, us, who get beat down every time. If you're not a millionaire LP grower or an upper-middle-class dispensary owner, you're going to get beat up by the cops.
Yeah.
And there's a double standard for different drugs. So we don't want any more double standards. We want the nice kind of legalization, the reasonable kind of legalization that protects harmless people from harm, including the growers and dealers that are ma and pa don't have $35,000.
Johnny's selfie in the background. No, it's true.
Oh, Malmo, I recovered your weed hat, by the way.
Oh, you have the weed hat.
I gave it to Megan, so she's going to bring it to work tonight, but
Okay.
I recovered it. Cop gave it to me.
Right
so,
on.
Just so you know.
That's a handy hat. If you're going to do this sort of hug power coordination thing, it's good to have a hat that makes you stand out in the
I know
crowd.
It's got a long history, that hat.
So people can find you quickly and go, hey, David, someone's getting busted.
That hat had 1 day till retirement, and look what happened.
Yeah. And the other funny thing is that I said the word cameras as soon as I saw a bunch of cops all together marching in formation towards Neil. I said cameras, and all of a sudden, everybody, the media, everybody with a camera phone, everybody got into position. And it was like, okay, we're lining up on the, the zero line of a football game, and Neil is the football.
Yeah, yes, he was. It was hot potato for a minute.
And it was like their best guys versus our best guys, and we weren't allowed to touch them. Go. The craziest game of football ever. And I scored a major interception.
Hilarious.
That added an extra minute of play. I think we got past the 8.
He also got a foul. We got a foul.
We got
a foul. And penalized.
We lasted.
He fouled and penalized.
We lasted way longer than the 8 seconds that actual rodeo bronco riders have to stand on their bulls. Yeah, you can't harm the bronco. But anyway.
No touching the bull. No touching the bull.
Yeah. Oh, it was.
We could have used those at 420, Neil.
It was a clown show. They couldn't operate the handcuffs for some reason in the paddy wagon, and somebody hotboxed the paddy wagon.
Yeah.
We were doing like hotbox selfies.
Selfies.
Yeah. In real time, we were broadcasting from the inside of the paddy wagon, committing marijuana crimes. It's like, hey, this is a dignity game, and you guys just lost it.
Yeah.
You cannot do your job properly. You couldn't bust a little old man who's like half the size of any one of those cops was Neil. And had they gone in and said, okay, here's your ticket, Neil, show up for court. This is what we're going to talk about. It's going to be about youth.
Yeah, why would they just give you a ticket?
A civilized sort of apology, polite Canadian way of handling it.
Perhaps.
But instead,
on Canada
it was
Day.
like
Violent
the
arrest?
NFL. It was like the MMR and NFL combined, and Neil was the football.
And then it didn't do anything because everybody else just set up and started selling weed as
That's
soon
right.
as...
It's not like they
Bert was
scared
an
us away
offensive
from
lineman
the
then?
economy.
No.
It's just everyone else said, fuck you and fuck
Yeah.
that.
But now I want to say, though, this is an important thing here. This has been a controversial act that we just did here at the art gallery. A lot of our supporters don't like what we did. There's a lot of people out there who are critical of it and who think that we shouldn't be upsetting.
How many activists have criticized us? People who actually devote their lives to the
You're
struggle.
right. Probably not as many.
None. Zero. Who the big name activists said, whoa, bad move?
Not really anybody.
No, nobody.
No.
It's just people who
Well,
are...
Conroy's probably the biggest name to criticize.
What did he say?
Conroy didn't like he doesn't understand
he doesn't
the
understand
concept
the
of the
open
cannabis
market.
farmers market.
Yeah, the market.
So
Why?
Dave, I wanted you to tell
All
our
right.
audience.
For John Conroy and anyone else who might be listening, this is the concept. The concept is civil disobedience is about being yourself and defending yourself and allowing yourself to be yourself, and then defending that through conscientious obstruction. We call it hug power, where we want all the rights we want full time, and we're going to defend them at least twice a year. We defend them non-violently through conscientious obstruction, through hug power, through the same techniques that the Berkeley free speech movement used when they were being ousted from the buildings they were occupying. They didn't make it easy for the police. They had a photo opportunity. There was cameras everywhere, and they wanted to send out messages of resistance into the mass media using their bodies as a way of communication. This is wrong, and we're not going along quietly. We're going to make a stink about this. It's going to take you 5 hours to clear this building instead of 5 minutes, and we are going to make you, not wish to do this again, and maybe listen to our grievances.
Right.
And that has worked for all kinds of communities, and it's worked for us for 20 years, or at least between 1999 and this year, like the 420 this year, April of 2015. It has worked in that there's not been any problems. Kids haven't been harmed by cannabis, and adults have enjoyed a relatively safe farmer's market, and it's operated like a farmer's market except weed.
Yeah.
And the only time problems happen is when the police introduce the problems. The only time force is initiated is when the police touch the activists. The activists don't touch the police do all the touching.
Right.
And you got to do this, otherwise you get stuck with their models of millionaire licensed producers and upper middle class dispensaries. We don't want that. We want it for everyone. We want all the growers and dealers protected. We want an economy that resembles the coffee bean economy in its inclusivity, but is the biggest economy in BC, and this is a way to get people off welfare and get poor people active, productive, high-functioning members of society with good jobs, and maybe we'll find a Mozart or Beethoven of breeding, and we'll get some really good stuff, and the whole community will benefit from an inclusive model. At least you'll get competition where the prices dropped down because of the competition,
Right.
and only really good, high-quality stuff survives, and that'll be good for everybody.
Some people say that, well, Vancouver has been, doing the best they can to try and regulate marijuana because they've been doing this whole dispensary thing.
Also, if they get it wrong, we've got to give up our dreams of an inclusive economy.
That's for medical marijuana. We're trying to legalize all marijuana for everyone.
For everyone.
So they can
Medical
go
and
do all they want
recreational.
about medical marijuana. That's not enough.
Oh, yeah.
That's not even close.
We want everyone off the battlefield. No
Bingo.
puffer, dealer, grower left behind.
That's right.
We
Nobody.
have all harmless people are protected from harm. And then, when that is guaranteed, we'll have we'll pay the fees for more festive and less protesty things.
Yep.
We'll jump through all their fucking hoops. But until then, we
Fucking
have a
forget
real reason to protest. And while there's still some of us who are vulnerable and harmless, we're going to be out there, and it's going to be a real protest, not a festival.
Yep. And here's the thing. We're just going to keep on doing this.
Yeah.
They think that
can't
their
stop
one
us.
violent arrest is going to stop people from selling weed. Look what happened right afterwards. There was 10 people selling weed or more.
Oh, hey, how about this for 420 next year? We wait till the crowd is big, and then we have a test dealer who will go out and deal to anybody, but they'll be wearing like football gear.
Yes.
We'll have
Yes,
bicycle locks, and we'll strap him down, and then bring the weed over to him, and then he'll be like dealing out and go like, okay, bring it.
Yes.
We're not going away. We're not afraid. And this guy, unlike the 60-year-old guy that you beat up last time, this guy, he thinks he can last even longer and make even a bigger stink, and you're going to have to brutalize more people to get him out of there.
Yeah.
And we're ready for you. Okay, your move.
Yeah.
And then see what happens next.
It was the city themselves suggested last time we were in a meeting with Sadhu Johnston, the deputy city manager.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting her last name, but her first name is Michelle from the VPD. She's a sergeant.
Yeah.
She suggested that we charge people more money for selling marijuana at their new location that they want us to move to, right next to the police station, which they said it would be fine for us to sell marijuana there. It'd be
Right
no
next to the
problem.
cop shop.
The city themselves in our meeting said it would be fine for us to sell marijuana. That's what they said. And then they do this violent arrest to us.
Do you have any
just because it was at that location.
Could you maybe sign an affidavit saying that?
I would be absolutely pleased to sign one.
I'm talking.
There was 3 witnesses: myself, Dana Larson, and Jody Emery.
I'm talking to a lawyer who's one of the lawyers who worked with Paul Watson, the guy who sinks ships for activism.
Yeah.
And he's interested. I have to come up with some money for a retainer, but I'm thinking of writing an article for Cannabis Culture with a kind of plea for funds at the end, but just explaining how civil disobedience is essential for an inclusive economy to finally arise.
Yeah.
Because if we stop fighting for it, no one's going to give it to us.
No.
We have to take it.
And,
we do got to take it.
You know, it just seems so wrong to me.
Right.
Down the fence around the north side of the art
I
gallery.
heard. There's no fence.
How convenient.
Show that.
Holy
to the
shit.
cam.
Fucking cocksuckers.
So Sadhu Johnston in the city manager's office,
Man,
they really needed to put that fencing up for construction purposes.
That is low.
Wow.
Okay, listen.
These guys,
low.
how do you? They're so
you remember that guy that came up and talked to us on the stairs with the long hair?
What's that?
Remember the guy who came up and talked to us with the long hair on the steps?
Which one?
He had a nice.
What was he talking about?
He was talking about us blocking the cafe and stuff, and he was.
Was he an activist or was he?
No, he was a city official.
City official. Okay.
So he had long hair.
Oh, the first guy.
And he told me.
Hey, wait, we have cross talking. Hey, if David, if you're gonna talk, don't do it into the microphone because that's okay.
Can I show your viewers this cool record cover?
do.
Okay, this is totally unrelated to what we were talking about, but I thought I'd show you. For $5, I got this at a used record store. I don't know. Can you see that?
Yes,
All right,
we can.
So
we can see
there's the hookah there, the guy smoking the hookah, and then this is an important tale about the proper setting for marijuana smoking. As this artist points out, is watching and observing beautiful women as they dance and move. And that can be in a modern setting with a rock and roll band or a punk rock band or a heavy metal or perhaps even a reggae band. It's always good to be high and then dancing or at least observing dancing and beautiful women tend to help my high. I don't know, it's different for different people. But so anyway, I like setting and mindset are important to safer, smarter smoking.
Some beautiful artwork on the cover.
Beautiful art, and that's like, at a used record store. I like to share when I come across a cultural thing.
David deals a lot of cultural nuggets, you could say.
Well, it's everywhere, man. In on every country except North and South Pole, there's a pot culture.
That's right.
It's just a little expensive as you get towards the North and South Pole.
That's right. Or Amsterdam.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's a pricey place to
okay,
smoke.
well, Dave, so what happened? I just wanted to ask you, after they grabbed you and smashed you around and so on and so forth, they threw you into a paddy wagon, you guys lit it up, went to the cop shop. They didn't let you go till pretty late.
Like 10 o'clock or something?
It was after 9 anyway.
What were you doing?
It was 10:30 for Neil.
By yourself in the
let
cell?
him out second last.
Were you guys together in the cell?
Bert said he got out at 10.
No.
You guys were all separated in there?
We were separated in the cells, but we saw each other occasionally walking down the hall.
Oh, yeah. Doing the catwalk.
What was your actual charge, Melvin?
Everybody else, aside from Neil, got obstructing police officer charges.
Obstructing.
Oh, you got obstruction
and
as
Neil
well?
got obstructed.
Oh, yeah, because
he obstructed so much.
You got hugged.
He obstructed his own arrest.
He was a huggy.
He obstructed his own arrest.
You didn't go along with the plan, Magnuson.
That's right, Neil.
You're supposed to cack it right there and show everybody we mean business because we're VPD.
In that scrum, I'll tell you. I really could have. I was choking out at one point.
Well, you didn't look like you were doing well.
They had that bungee cord around your neck and everything.
When they really tried to yank me out, somebody had a hold of my belt. I thought they were going to rip me right in half. I had like super strong policemen yanking me as hard as they could, and dead weight hanging onto my belt and behind, and I was like, whoa.
It's probably Bert. He's a big guy.
When I was being choked out on my
throat, pinky finger.
I couldn't say anything. I couldn't go like, I can't breathe. I was trying to say I can't breathe, but I couldn't say anything. And I really was worried for a moment there that I was out of there, and that was that. So I've never been in that position in my life before.
No, that was pretty brutal, man. I've never seen anything like that.
Crazy.
You weren't around in the late 90s, Eric.
Well, now I'm wondering.
I see the brutality. I got dragged down this street by the cuffs.
Yeah.
Oh, that would hurt.
Tell it to the microphone.
Ouch.
Oh, that would hurt.
Dragged down the street in the cuffs. So this isn't brand new behavior from the Vancouver Police Department. When
different.
Mark was going through his troubles, they were pretty aggressive downstairs.
In 2005, there was a brutal arrest of people here and we tried to get in the way. I think you and Dan and I tried to block the alley from Greg being hauled out of here, and they threw us unceremoniously into the paddy wagon then too. Well, yeah,
I had to go check on the herb school, We got a rumor that the doors were open and nobody was there. So I was in inline skates because I did that. And I skated as fast as I could down to the herb school. It was okay. I came back and they were been thrown in a paddy wagon, my son and David and one other fellow.
And apparently, according to Dan's memory, we hotboxed that one too.
Oh yeah, you did. You had a roach and you guys smoked it in the paddy wagon.
They hadn't even cuffed us, so we were like, "What do you got? Let's burn the evidence." Okay, how are we going to burn the evidence? Hey, wait, that's conveniently located inside of a joint.
Beautiful.
And yeah, so that was 10 years ago, and so twice in David's life, he's been in the back of a paddy wagon smoking weed with Magnusons.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a habit I'd like to kick eventually
down the road.
Because it's really it's hard on you. The shit kicking especially, but also the claustrophobia.
It's a gateway to smoking in prison too.
That's right. It is a gateway to smoking in prison. Well, there's really good drugs there, bro.
Yeah, I don't know.
Heroin in prison.
I don't want
too,
a minute to feel like an hour in any unpleasant situation.
That's the truth.
Well, Dave, when you served your time at where was it?
It was Fraser Regional Correctional Center.
Were you puffing down in there that time?
It was available, but I was like, well,
you didn't want to stay for too much longer.
I figured it's probably passed through 3 or 4 jailhouse wallets by the time it reaches me, which is a shitty sort of.
It's shitty, bud.
It's a long trail to get in there.
I smelled some tobacco in there, and it smelled like shit. So I figured the weed was probably in the same
jailhouse
shitty smuggling system.
Could you say that's some shitty weed?
Yeah. So I was gonna wait till I had less fecal weed kind of thing going on, and I got out, and a bunch of people came to pick me up, and there was a fatty waiting for me, and I'm like, okay, my tolerance wasn't that good when I went in. Now it's down to 0. Haven't fucking smoked pot 4 months. You guys got to go easy on me. And they lit this thing up, and it was like paralyzed like the first puff, and I was, please don't smoke the rest of that in this car.
Do you remember who it was that picked you up? I don't remember.
Oh, I remember a Dana was there, and a Jody was there. And I think
then I must have been there. Maybe not. I came to visit you every weekend.
You did. You were wonderful.
That's awesome.
Your hugs kept me going.
That's right. David had a big, huge beard. Almost, he's getting it back now. He had like a big rabbi beard.
And Jeremiah would put on airs and pretend to be gay. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
like,
I was wearing my
I can't wait to
sundress.
see you, bunny, honey.
Yeah, that's right. They let me sit on his lap at the table.
Right. It's just
they're like, no hands under the table.
The oxytocin, you need it. So I was only institutionally gay, just me and Jared.
Right. In jail, they called him a hammerhawk.
That's right.
Yeah. David did a bunch of jailhouse definitions for us.
Yes, lexicon of criminals.
That's right. Hammerhawk was...
Hammerhawk is someone who stares at your penis.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember any of them now. It's so hazy. All I know is that whenever I'm in a taxi cab or something and they're playing like The Beat or The Fox, I start to feel the anxiety of being in jail come back to me because those are the only 2 radio stations that they allow.
Right, yes.
It's like, just please turn off The Beat. Please, I can't handle it. I can't do it anymore.
Oh, that's called media dread. Marshall McLuhan talks about that one.
Post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
You get a medical license for that, I heard.
Yeah, sure.
I'm stressed and depressed.
Yeah, at the Stressed and Depressed Association.
That's what I heard.
Did you see that cartoon you posted?
Yes.
That's awesome.
The people.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, you posted a great one. Let me tell you about it, or the viewers.
Yes.
There's these protesters, and they were at the Vag pot rally, as one of their signs says.
Yeah.
And they're going into the medical marijuana dispensary because they've been beat up by the cops.
Yeah.
I think it's now a new valid excuse for medical marijuana.
I think I can.
I'm a protester.
I was
I got pain.
Brutalized, so now
Currently a Charlie horse. You never know what's coming next.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Like I said, post-traumatic stress. Everybody's.
Anyway, I should go back to selling my weed, so I'm gonna continue. I'm going to continue with my job.
Tell us how that's going, though.
It's a great job.
Tell us about the Stressed and Depressed
the Stressed and Depressed
Society.
Association. Well, aside from, the fact that we're just starting out and we've been slapped with $35,000 in licensing, and some numbskull
drive through your front window.
Yeah, stole a minivan and drove it through our front wall. Aside from all that, the business is breaking even. We got 93 members. Things are going great.
Awesome.
Very cool. And where do people find you? Give all your info.
Oh, well, stressedandoppressed.ca is us online, and you can find us in person live from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day at 1353 East 41st Avenue, a block west of Knight, behind the Duffins Donuts on 41st and Knight.
And how are those donuts over there?
I'm really not eating the donuts, but the blissed out looks on the faces of their customers tells me that if you're into the donut thing, Duffins is the place to go. They're open 24 hours a day.
20. That's one of my favorite
24
places
hours a day,
that.
and they have a delicatessen where you can get all sorts of things. I enjoy the
Good
salmon
stuff.
sandwich and the fries, and sometimes a Greek salad of some kind.
Very nice.
When
Here's
I'm,
the comic.
When I'm hanging out there.
Hungry.
There's the
So,
comic. Did you
good
see?
times.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anywho,
I tagged you in it, Dave.
I should go. Great. I should go sell drugs now. I'll see you guys
should.
later.
Go push
Have
through.
fun selling drugs. Just don't tell Mayor Gregor you're doing it.
And where?
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
he'll want like 35 grand.
Yeah,
At
exactly.
Hey, where's my cut? It's the Godfather.
Yeah, how come they just didn't give Neil a ticket for 30 grand?
Don't give him any ideas.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I didn't have the proper security on my windows.
Yeah, that's right. You need a meter between those bars and the window.
All right.
I think you may have been within 300 meters
Thanks,
of
Melmo.
a park, too.
Good to see you, buddy. Remember, Megan's got your hat.
All right. Awesome.
So, what a brutal week, but I think in the end, this could lead to something more positive. You know, a lot of times what seems bad right at first can lead to something positive.
It's always dankest before the dawn.
There you go.
It's always dankest before the dawn, says Melmo.
According to Melmo.
Yeah, but no, I think that there's
I
something
got to go
that-
too. I'll see you guys all later.
Great
Thanks
activist.
for the show and.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Neil. Thanks for everything you do, my
That's a
friend.
beautiful Prairie Cup
You
T-shirt,
did a
by
lot
the
of
way.
great work.
I can't wait for this event.
There you go, the Prairie Cup. Everybody wearing their T-shirts.
Prairie Cup.
Yep, coming up
Coming
October.
up. Tickets
2nd,
available
3rd, 4th.
now,
They are. They're already on sale.
And tell people where to go to get those tickets.
So sassprairiecup.ca to our website, and then you can buy tickets online, or you can go to Skunk Funk Smoker, Skunk Funk Smokers Emporium in Saskatoon. You can buy tickets there if you're local. Nowhere else though. We just sell the tickets.
And what
in the
is
store and
what's
online.
this Prairie Cup thing I keep hearing
I don't know
about?
what the Prairie Cup is. What the hell we're doing out there?
I've heard about it.
Bunch of fucking
whispers.
hippies in a fucking
It's
field
like these
somewhere.
Prairie guys, bunch of boozers.
I did.
you
They
know?
do drink a lot of Pilsner.
Yeah.
Oh, here's
There's
John.
this Prairie
John's
Cup
coming.
guy here.
We got
trouble.
Johnny. Came to
John's in the
snuggle.
house.
I don't know. I
The
just
Prairie
leave it
Cup
there.
is a celebration of cannabis growing basically throughout Canada, but mainly focused in the prairies and what we do there. And then I've managed to convince all you crazy motherfuckers to come out and enjoy it with me.
It's a lot of fun every year. I
Well,
like
yeah.
it. It's my
I've
one
been
of
there
my
a few
favorite
years in a
events
row.
basically on the planet. It's probably my favorite cannabis related. Oh, it's definitely my favorite strain judging competition. But it's
Perfect.
it might be my favorite cannabis related event in completely besides 420.
We got a lovely lineup this year. We're doing 6 entries in each category, so indica, sativa, and hybrid. And then we're also getting into the concentrates because everybody wants to do concentrates.
Rosin.
So 4 solvent and 4 solventless entries. And we'll only be awarding a first place cup for the concentrates this year. And maybe we'll expand because that's still like 26 entries you still got to judge, which I heard with the 27 entries from last year, that was a lot. And we don't want to overwhelm people with the 3 days. We want them to be able to judge them nicely and get super medicated and enjoy themselves because that's what it's all about, right? But we're adding a bunch of new vendors, and we're introducing the Cannabis Olympics this year, which is a whole new thing that I've come up with.
It's going to be fun.
So the Cannabis Olympics, and I'm hoping to have a bunch of new guest speakers. And
Michael Phelps is going to show up, I heard.
He is.
Yeah, is there a
He's
swimming
gonna-
event as part of the Olympics? Underwater,
No, we're
how
gonna
long
do.
can you
hold
hold
on.
a toke
No,
underwater?
no, synchronized dabbing.
Synchronized dabbing. would
That's
be
right.
very
So you'll
fun.
have to take the same size dab with your partner. You'll have to do it in like a manner that's beautiful.
You have to do a twist.
That's right. There has to be a little
Yeah,
bit of
like a-
yeah,
yeah.
move. You know, it's synchronized dabbing. Look up synchronized swimming, guys. A little performance, then you dab, and yeah, we're coming up with stuff like that. So we want people to come and have fun.
Yeah.
And
Cannabis luge.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, the 100-meter,
The
100
Jamaican bobsled
the 100
team's
meter,
gonna kick
the 100-meter
ass at that
joint,
event.
right?
Yeah.
You know.
I like the 100-meter joint thing.
The 100-meter
that
joint.
just caught my eye. Like the 100-meter
There
joint.
was one giggle. Yeah.
So
No,
and
I
we
think you need to do some of those like weird triathlon events. I said this before, like go diving, shoot some sort of wild game, and then puff a bong.
Yeah, we'll try to add all elements.
It's gonna have to be transplant.
You'll have to sign up and
water
get
it,
different heat times.
move it over to the light, turn it on, grow it, come back next.
We have it like where you got to run down and then hand your teammate off the bong. And he's got to serve you the blast, and you got to run back.
That's a good idea.
Shit like that,
A bong marathon.
Run back, grab the
marathon.
torch.
That's it. That's the torch.
A marabong.
Right.
We're working on all the details. We have till October,
like
so I
that.
think we'll be all right.
How about like a beginning if you do like a hunt and first you got to find certain things to be.
There you go.
See.
All tons of great ideas.
Now, Johnny, you weren't there. Were you? Wait, I forget where you. You were here for Cannabis Day, but you weren't here earlier today. No, you didn't get to see the fireworks that happened at the mayor's office earlier.
No, he wasn't.
No, I wasn't here earlier. I was trying to
That
get
was
downtown.
fun.
Major accidents on the freeway. Hours getting down here, and I got here for 4:20. That was my
There
most
you go.
important part. So as always, but was that Cannabis event? Well, of course, I was right there. I mean, I was beside the cameras. I was the guy beside the
Yeah,
little
you
camera
had your
guy.
camera right. You were holding. I saw you recording a lot. And
I
actually,
recorded everything.
Did you get the? After the whole thing, when we were like out on the street and stuff, and when we were doing stuff, did you get any of that stuff afterwards? Like right after Neil got hauled away. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
were
Still, there's lots
I
of
wanna
that.
There's lots of that.
acquire some of those videos.
Okay.
For me, it was just live Periscope. So.
Oh, you were periscoping.
I
things.
periscoped
What's
it
this
live.
new Periscope thing?
You know what?
It's an
I
app that
learned
has
it
live
from
video on it?
learned it from House Church, and of course, Bowman and Matt Barron and D420K, and we got Tom McCormick, and lots of people are getting on
Guys
the
are such
Periscope.
technocrats.
It's just a new social media platform. It was kind of cool, and
Technoholics.
it was. I hit a button. I was like, it's live. I hit live, and I recorded it. My camera was video camera was on the other side of the stage. I was in the middle of rolling a joint. I dropped everything to run over to see what was going on because all I saw were cops diving on people. Like, what the hell?
Just a core group.
And you know what? I mean,
Scary stuff.
I've already heard all the conversation around it, but what a day after the cops left, after their agenda was to forcefully take someone down, make it very public and very known that what went on. We saw that the minute the presence when I got there at 9:30. I pulled up, which people witnessed. I didn't even have my truck in the park. There's a cop parked in front of me. He said no parking and abandoned my driver's license. Driver's license, sir. I asked him if I could put it in the park first. I proceeded to put it in the park. He wrote me a $121 ticket and then told me to move. I said, well, move your fucking bike first, then.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, they were giving away tickets like mad out
So
there.
I got 2 tickets that day. They were just completely ridiculous. They were very forceful. They were there to. This is medical cannabis day. It's the way I've always gone down there for medical patients, and for me, I was going down there to support my right as a patient to use cannabis as a medicine, and they really forcefully, in my opinion, what I saw was. A lot of people down there have post-traumatic stress disorder. There's veterans. A lot of people down there were patients, and what they did was wrong. It was unnecessary. It's causing a lot of disarray. There's a lot of people have called me and gave me shit because I was involved in the sense of saying that we orchestrated. This was all orchestrated by VPD from the start. When I show up and drive around, when you see 25 officers on the other side of the art gallery, guys, a lot of stuff the media did not cover. When I was driving around waiting to get a parking spot, how they set up points on the stand. They were everywhere. And this hasn't happened in 20 years of me coming downtown for every event. Nowhere have I ever seen this amount of presence at huge events in any which way. It was tactical. It was not just VPD.
It looked like a damn military
This was
platoon
something
down there.
very, very. What I say, this was harsh. Of what, and I don't even know if the city of Vancouver had a lot to do with it. There could have been outside story, but it was something I've never seen before in the city of Vancouver.
The worst part is they said they weren't going to do any of it.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
They told us from the beginning we're
said,
not
"Don't
here
set up
in a
booths."
malicious fashion.
Yeah.
And we're
They
not
didn't
going
want
to do
structures.
anything
That was their big
to
thing.
you.
I mentioned that to
thanks.
you when you I said that we had all the booths for sale. I said they're not going to like that. You know why? Because it was, the
The
420
city actually
is
never
is
told us not to sell marijuana. Like the city manager's office and those guys never said not to sell weed. They were actually encouraging us to move to a new spot to sell weed. That's what they were
this is
encouraging
very
us to do.
interesting. So
Move
now
to a
we've
new
had the
spot to
city
sell
talk
weed.
to us about this after 420 because it got so big, coming up to the events, moving us to different locations to host, to get permits and everything else. So, but like everybody's saying, this isn't about a market. This is about our right to use cannabis as a medicine, as a recreation, wherever you want to consume cannabis for yourself to make you feel better, make you shit better, whatever it may be.
Whatever your ailment
Whatever
is.
your ailment is.
That's right.
That's why
You
we
know,
stand up and do these events.
The thing I try to tell people
Bong rip.
Even
Johnny?
if you use the plant
Yeah.
recreational, it's so medicinal that you're still a medicinal user no matter what.
I mean,
It's
for
all
me,
around the whole spectrum of it.
I was
right?
so outraged of what happened. I mean,
think
I
recreational is medicinal.
was jumping in there and I'm injured.
Medicated donut, says Clam Toes. That's what the cops need. Some medicated donuts. Just get like a Tim Hortons box. Spike Tim Hortons box. They wouldn't know what hit them. They'd be like, yo, dude, don't touch
There's
the
one part
protesters,
in my
man."
Periscope.
They'll be like
There's one part and I point at the cop and go, that's the cop that gave me the ticket.
I'm going to die.
I'm going to die. I ate too many brownies. We
that does happen with
confiscated some
edibles.
weed. I ate too many brownies. What about those fucking pigs in San
Yeah,
Ann that kicked in that medical dispensary?
Oh, yeah.
And then they were eating fucking brownies
I
and shit
know.
on camera after.
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck,
That
man.
is
That shit
hilarious.
is fucked up.
But
Well,
once
it's not
again,
hilarious,
I mean,
it's
for me, I want to
disgraceful.
write a
Fucked up,
letter.
man.
It's
Like,
unbelievable
this
that
is
they
fucked
would.
up.
Hey,
What's
once
that?
again, I think the people that saw what's happened should be writing letters towards City Hall.
Yeah.
And should make it very public. I'm writing one this weekend of exactly what I thought
We're
was
gonna have a
unprofessionalism. At one point, I mean, really, even though they did what they did, it was so unprofessional. People could have grabbed guns. There was, I mean, it was. We were nonviolent. If we were in any which way, that would have turned so sour. What if the one guy that was a war veteran and snapped and went ballistic? They had what they did was so wrong. It was just I can't believe the amount of power they put into that, because I've seen people who have post-traumatic stress disorder who've been in the war, and that type of attack, what they saw, they're gonna go to help people. They're gonna that's why Bert jumped in there, because he wanted to help. But that was somebody else that went for a gun or something like that. What they did was I can't say it on
Crazy
camera.
stuff.
I'm just saying, if that was your son, your daughter, what would you do?
Yeah.
If that was
No,
someone
it's
you
brutal.
loved, your brother, your sister, what would you do?
I wanted to say that a couple people really helped us out with sponsorships. Crop King, Sublimator, and this guy right here. We couldn't have done the stuff that we do. We can never really do it without you guys. So that's really important.
After I heard you guys lost everything, all the booth money, it was the right thing to do. Step up and help out and make this happen. My 5th anniversary.
Yeah.
Never thought in a million years it would go down the way it did. And I'm glad that I was here for it and in the front line for it. And as sad as it was to watch my friends get beat up, maybe that's what more needs to happen for the movement to fucking finally change.
Well, and
it sucks to see people get hurt in the process, but if it takes a punch to the face or a kick to the face,
it seems like we completely went
get
backwards.
That, Jade? I want one of those. Jade has an ice cream bar. Hey, Johnny, did you hit that bong yet?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Speaking of Sublimator, look who's in the house over here. We got the Alchemist chilling on the old couch over here.
I'd like to say a shout out to Sublimator. They're one of our platinum sponsors for this year's Prairie Cup.
And
So we appreciate all the work, the hard work that they do.
Package.
We
My
appreciate
favorite of all
everything
the
that
packages.
Enrico and everybody from Sublimator does, and we're proud to have them as our platinum sponsor this year for the Prairie Cup, as well as Boss Vape Co. And Carlos and the crew and the Boss Boys from Winnipeg are going to be also platinum sponsors. So everybody that supports the Prairie Cup, that's all on this poster here too as well.
Oh, it's falling down again.
Oh, boo.
Poor poster.
It's the poster.
We came to Saskatchewan, we conquered, we smoked.
And we smoked, that's
we
right.
conquered first, then we smoked.
Missed me.
You know, the conquer part is important because a lot of people never thought that the prairies would ever have anything, and people would never show up, and it was never going to fly.
Yeah.
So, and here we are 5 years later, and we're still fucking rocking it. And we smoked the Odeon out. I guess it's called O'Brien's now. And we smoked that. Yeah, they changed it. So it's sponsors. They got money.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Yeah.
So O'Brien's Event Center in Saskatoon, and we've been smoking that place out for 5 years. They're gracious enough to give us a space to get high, but that's because every concert I'm getting high anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, this just makes sense if we get stoned here. So
Justin Bieber's in the house. You know the place is getting high.
It's unfortunate we did have a vapor
out.
lounge open, as you guys know, and I haven't really talked much about exactly what went down there.
No, you came on the show briefly, discussed it. We tried to get you on the show, but
so
I wasn't sure how well it worked that time.
Basically, the short and skinny, and I'll give everybody the whole story of what started it all is I went to get insurance for my vapor lounge, And when they said, oh, you have a vapor lounge, the insurance company, they said, oh, you have a vapor lounge. They said, well, you can't have insurance for that, and you now can't have insurance for your head shop. So I called my media contact because I thought maybe we could do an extortion story or something about how these people alienate businesses like mine, like tattoo shops and sex shops and head shops and stuff, how we can't get proper insurance and we're, always pushed out the door, so blackballed by these people. So we were going to do a story like that, but I was leaving for Barcelona for Cannabis, and I didn't want to tell the whole city I live in that I don't have any insurance to my store before I leave for 2 weeks. So we did a small story about how the vapor lounge had opened up. Well, my media contact had then gone off and called the police about it to get a statement from them, in which they said, oh, we didn't know about it, now it's under investigation. So that freaked everybody out. I even had an employee quit. I got that call at 4 a.m. in Barcelona going, hey, we don't have anybody to work the vape lounge anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I come back to just this crazy scenario. We were down to like 2 people a week or a couple of people every other day, paying like $5 a head to come in and hang out for like an hour. We were really struggling. I was giving away free dabs and free weed just to get people down there to break the stigma, and they were afraid. And then when I got home from Barcelona, I worked 31 days in a row. That's how busy I was trying to keep the lounge alive, paying the rent out of my own pocket, just trying to make it survive. And I was working Skunk Funk, and 3 city officials showed up. Zoning, bylaw enforcement, health inspector, and fire. Together. And they all bum rushed me in my shop. And
Did they come in the same car?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. All from the same office. And they demanded. They were like, let us in. They weren't like, can we... They were like, can we... They probably all came in separate cars and charged the taxpayers.
Yeah, probably.
Fuck. So I just found it funny how you couldn't call me, ask me for coffee. You want to go out for coffee, have a meeting, I'll buy you a fucking beer even. Like, holy fuck, you want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Talk to me like a person. Talk to me with some respect. Or talk to me like a business owner, right? They just don't show up in my shop, demand entrance. And I felt so defeated by that I just simply looked at them and said, well, it's closed. Hey, you've done successful. Like, I know you don't want this here. And it's fine. I can accept that you don't want it here. But, I put a lot of money into it. We dumped 20,000, lost 20,000 out of it.
And what were
me and my cousin's here with me right now. We both invested our hard-earned money. My cousin's not rich. He fucking works real hard for the cash he has.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a good, upstanding person that believed in something enough to go into business, and we took a loss over it. Not that I think that it's a complete loss, because when legalization happens, all my shit is in storage. We're going to fucking find a better place and a bigger place and open a better lounge. My head shop is expanding currently. I'm not defeated over it. I'm sorry that I did have to close it, and that people see that as something that maybe I shouldn't have done. But when you're up against the wall and you're shelling out of pocket and you're just trying to keep this dream alive in a place where it isn't like Vancouver. You guys got to remember, we're in a place with 300,000 people and probably more
your cops aren't so brutal.
More churches than head shops. Yeah. Right, not yet anyways. No. But we do have a new police chief that has a more perspective, liberal outlook on things. Prostitution has relaxed, and they're talking about licensing and legalization of that, which means they're not after. At our protest, our Pot 420 rally this year, we were openly smoking. I was asked for my license, but the police did leave people alone. So maybe we do stand a chance in the prairies, and I mean the cup is a big part of that. And this year I really hope for no problems at all, and we want people to come and feel safe and have fun. And even though the vapor lounge isn't there, we smoke weed every day at Skunk Funk. I'm always dabbing people down. I got vaporizers there if you want to come try them for free. If you got any kind of ailments, I want to help you if you're in the prairies. If you're sick, I want to help you. I don't want to charge you $12, $20 a gram. I want to charge you $2.50 or $5 a gram. And it's true medicine, and we need to just help people. Legalization and.
Well, you're doing a great job out there, man. You really
Thanks,
hold
brother.
it down, and you basically are like the anchor of the middle of this country for our community. So
thank you, brother.
That's really hugely appreciated by everybody in the community.
You guys are the anchor for the West Coast. I mean, all the work that everybody did is to be commended. I have guys like my brothers Neil and Bert and David. To see them to stand up for our rights, and
I'm sad to see us having this friction with the city. I like it when we work together and we don't have these problems.
Harmony is better.
But sometimes there's just, I think we did the best we could with a city manager's office and a police force who are being
Sorry, I'd get
pretty
parking
overtly
tickets like
aggressive
crazy
to
in
us
this
about
city,
it,
so I gotta go.
You know, I'm starting to think we should have just moved the damn thing. You know, but
Maybe.
but at the time, you know, we didn't.
There's no way.
It's 3 weeks beforehand, and you know, it's a lot to move, and
Ton.
just the point of it. The point
Bye,
of them
John.
saying, "See you later, John." And we gotta at some point we do have to decide here. What is this, a protest or is this an event?
Next time they ask you to move,
Al the Alchemist,
move
come a
to,
little closer.
Move to the entrance of Stanley Park and block the shit out of the Lions Gate.
Yeah.
And then see if they want you back at the art gallery.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
shit, eh?
No kidding.
No
you know,
shit.
moving.
I mean, it would be so easy to get 20,000 people across that road, and no traffic in or out.
You know,
That's
it's a weird thing because I want to move to this new location where we'll be out of the way of people. We'll get to sell our marijuana openly and freely and all that.
Nobody sees the protest.
Right, and that's kind of the thing. This is a protest.
It's like, here's a bone, go away.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
That's what it would be.
Yeah,
Go away.
right.
But
So-
go away next to the
Go-
police.
it's-
Go away next to the police station.
Well, I'd make arresting you a whole
So
lot
that
easier.
we can- so that we can just
sometimes
round you all
want
up
them
at
to
once.
act out because then it shows people the true colors of what's actually going on. You know, because if you know they are willing to do this, and we're going to see this in reality when they start closing dispensaries down. These guys are willing to bust us
Neil
up.
said a very good point at City Hall today. He said, if you shut the dispensaries down and force the new regulation, you're taking away jobs of people that need to survive in a city that costs a lot of fucking money to be here.
And hurting patients.
Yeah, hell yeah, tons of patients that will then be redirected to somewhere else, possibly the black market, which isn't regulated, which they keep fucking yapping about. Like, yeah, they see
it's brutal. Now, Al, I wanted to ask you about some of your recent travels. Now that I have you on the couch,
the world
here. And you
fucking
should move a little
traveler.
bit closer.
First
even.
place
There we go.
again.
Yeah, we can see
Worst
you now.
place again.
Yeah, I know.
Right
So
on. Congratulations, guys.
Tell them what happened down there.
We do have a torch.
That was
let's
for
try
another
this thing out.
collabo piece, wasn't it? Oh yeah, what do you got with you? What was the collabo?
I haven't
what was
used
the
it
piece
since
that
the
did
glass
big
gathering,
win?
so hopefully it still
was-
has juice in it.
We got first place for best product, but with us we brought Patrick Stratus and Corey Cottenham, who presented. I don't even know how to put it into words, man. It's like,
thanks, Johnny.
Johnny B's out. Take
See you
care,
later.
John.
It's these guys in crunch time came up with one of the most detailed, elaborate, fucking tripped out DMT screaming pieces.
Oh, that thing is ridiculous.
It's called the Machine Elves Tricycler.
Yeah, I saw a picture
Now,
of that thing.
If
It's ridiculously
anybody's
awesome.
experienced with crossing over, you may have run into the Machine Elves. They build reality. They build everything, and that's what the Machine Elves do. And they're a common vision when you cross over. A lot of people see them. Sometimes if you're distracted going into your trip, you'll get directed to an engine room or to a manufacturing room, and you'll see these guys hard at work on their conveyor belts doing crazy shit.
They're like mescalitos.
It's a common vision. And
Stephen King writes about him in a book called Insomnia. He calls them the little bald doctors.
These and I have to say they nailed the Machine Elves to a T, and it glows in the dark. It's got spinners. It's fucking just, it's crazy. It's crazy. So it's like, I think we're kind of forming kind of a relationship with these two, and we'll see where it goes because they're innovators. Sublimator's innovative, and I think sky's the limit with that.
And you took the #1 spot?
Again, yeah, first place, Spanibus
Congratulations.
Malaga for best product. Yeah, it was a hard go. At these events, there's a lot of people that have products that might cost $30, $40 that are competing for best product.
Yeah.
And they can afford to give dozens and dozens and dozens of those things away, and they can afford to have
Prize bag,
gift bags, and all kinds of stuff.
Gift bag, Buddha bag.
With Sublimator, it's pretty hard because we're coming in with
Megan's still an advisor in the house.
we're coming in with a few people on the team from across the world, and we can't afford to give people Sublimators left and right. We just can't do it. We can't.
And Enrico does a lot of that anyways, even though
T-shirts, right? So getting the best product it's a pretty big achievement for us, that's for sure.
No kidding.
Well, congratulations.
No, it's pretty wicked. You guys do a great job.
I was there in
How's
Barcelona for their first place win. That was exciting. So.
I was.
Yeah, it was fun.
I was also there for that was 2 times ago.
You missed
Barcelona. It was like,
you missed
yeah,
Barcelona
I was there for the earlier one. That was the second place win at Barcelona the first year. You guys won something that year.
What did we get the first time we went?
It was Cannabis Barcelona 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you guys were in there.
We got second place.
First place this year.
Yeah, that's dope.
That was awesome.
Keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, and wait, what? There was another expo. Oh, that was the that was in Irun. We were in Irun as well.
Yeah, we got first place there.
First place in Irun. Yeah. Ah, Spain. I love it there. It's beautiful.
Next is Irun. I think that's
going
the next
back
one.
to
That's
oh,
like
what a beautiful place. San Sebastian. Oh my God.
September 12th.
Jesus Christ.
14th.
Might be the most beautiful place I've ever been to anywhere on this planet. San Sebastian.
You should try the Canaries.
I'm going to Expo Grow.
Yeah. Expo Grow, yeah.
In Chile.
Chile. I hear it's beautiful there.
Santiago in November.
That's
so I'm
gonna. November.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I'm excited.
A lot of these expos everywhere.
We're gonna do a little trip into Peru for ayahuasca ceremony before we go to Expo Grow, but I'm super excited because I think I'm going to enter the extract category at Expo Grow.
Oh, you should.
Yeah, I have a spot to mail to, so yeah.
Nice.
Barcelona was
That'd
a
be
great
fun.
trip. Met a bunch of great people, so
Yeah,
it's going to make going to Santiago
there's
a whole
some
lot.
interesting cats there.
A whole lot
That's
worth
for
it.
sure.
For sure, like so much fun too. The Weed Map guys. Amazing people.
Oh yeah, those guys are cool.
They're
man.
awesome, man.
Yeah,
everybody I
was hanging with them
met,
in Spain,
everybody
too.
I met down there was amazing. All the people that come in from all over the place.
Shout out to Weed Maps and Weed Maps Weed Maps Spain.
Spain.
Yeah.
And
Those
the
tech
guys
are
from
hilarious.
HQ from Headquarters.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
an
HQ,
amazing club.
yeah.
I reached Matt is good friends with them from House of the Great Gardener, and I reached out to them to use their mission statement at our Vapor Lounge. But since we closed the Vapor Lounge, we simply switched the mission statement over to the Prairie Cup, and we're gonna we got it all done up on a big banner that we're gonna have at the Cup this year. And big shout out to Headquarters. Those guys are amazing people, and
That's a good club.
Their outlook on life. If you ever get to go there, the mission statement's up on the wall. You just got to look up, and if you read it and you believe in the words that it says, there's a lot of heart and truth in it.
Yeah.
And it's just the simple fundamentals of how to live and treat each other. And basically, we are the lovers and the lords of the world, and we need to treat each other with this profound respect and. And just hopefully we'll overcome these barriers.
David, the cat that runs that place, is
just amazing.
Yeah, he's a really interesting guy, very charismatic, down to earth.
One of the best events I've been to for international cups.
Cool.
Barcelona.
Oh,
I'm really excited for
Yeah,
Spanish.
And you know what? Just their standard weed at HQ.
Smoke some of the best shit ever there.
I found Thai that was flowered for 28 weeks at HQ.
Some of the best bubble I smoked was at HQ.
Panamanian cross that was flowered for 18 weeks. There's they've got some really good pot there.
I just wanted to
let's try
say
it out, dude.
Before I forget,
Whatever.
in the chat right now,
Oh,
Kiwi's
okay,
in the
you can
chat.
put water in there. Hey, Kiwi.
Yeah, Kiwi did an amazing
Yeah,
job of
yeah,
doing our
that's-
sound at the rally.
Man.
Kiwi rocked
Kiwi
it out.
fucking knocked it, man. It was
It
a
was
good
like
show.
old school.
DJ'd it up.
Dude,
him
it
and
was
Rocky
old
Fisher.
school.
He
Yeah.
was ripping Clorox bleach. He was ripping all kinds of shit.
Man.
Clorox bleach. Yeah, well, he always does.
That's
No,
awesome.
Kiwi
it was
totally
old
held
school.
it down and did
I haven't
some
seen him
amazing
behind the
stuff for us
decks
there.
at a rally in
It was
like
cool.
for a minute, man. It's
Mad
it was
props to
awesome.
Kiwi for that.
For
It was
sure.
pretty good.
Jeff.
Big shout out.
Yeah.
Just clicks down and press the button.
What's up? Kiwi says.
Clicks down. Hey,
Kiwi,
hang
the
on.
Red-Eyed Jedi.
I gotta get some shit to put. In
I
this
have
truck.
dabs if you need.
I got dabs.
Okay.
I got carb cap.
Kiwi
Alright.
has been doing some amazing glass stuff too on his Facebook page. Holy shit, he's just been like posting
Kiwi's blowing glass.
No, he's been documenting. I don't know if Kiwi's blowing it. He might. I don't know about that. He'll have to tell us about that. But he's been just facilitating, a lot of glass artists and posting
sharing
up their
and posting their stuff.
And some
for
of the
sure.
stuff that he's been posting is just like
he's on the
mind-blowing
social
shit.
media pretty
Yeah,
hard.
It's pretty dope stuff.
Big up to Kiwi man for handling it down. We love you, brother.
He says big ups to Ignite Smoke Shop. That's Rocky Fisher. She was amazing. That's Rhiannon.
Yeah,
holding
man,
it down
big
on
up to you,
stage.
mate. That was
She
so
was
awesome,
doing really
too.
good sound too. We got Cam in the house. fresh out of jail, not wearing any handcuffs. Just slips right out of those things like butter. What's up, man? Yeah, exactly. Here, come closer so they can see another one of the co-accused of obstructing justice down in the Vancouver Art Gallery.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
So, yeah, you were one of the ones who got
cannabis
popped and
crusader.
dragged down. They didn't let you go till late at night.
I thought it was a game of Twister, and the cops took it too far.
A little bit too far.
Yeah, they were really getting physical.
Foot on green.
Yeah, foot on neck. Yeah.
Yeah, they went a little over.
Yeah, right foot neck. Right foot tie-dye.
Left knee on face. Something like that.
I actually came to grab some of this stuff.
Oh, what stuff you grabbing? Oh, David's stuff. Oh.
Are you going to
we
see
had our
Melmo?
big joint up on stage, too. They didn't care about that. Nobody tried to steal
Does
the
anybody
joint.
have any tain so I can refill my torch?
Are you ready?
That tain?
She's looking for the tain. Just don't add a T at the end of it. I think Jade, I sold it. Actually, I was just about to use it, but I really want to hit the bond rip. What's that? Nah, there's an alley. There's no loading dock, but there's a door that goes out there. But you got to lug it down the stairs. Then it's probably a lot easier going out the front, to be honest. Yeah. All right, hitting bong again. What are you dabbing on over there?
A little bit of live resin with the new sublimator torch-driven nail. Take it to the park, take it to the beach.
Torch-driven sublimator nail.
Yep.
Wow. Take it to the beach. That's actually something I haven't seen yet. The Torchinator. The Sublitorch.
The Sublitorch.
Well, it's probably a smart thing to do. I guess we're going to wrap this up soon. So that was our... oh, yeah. Fuck yeah, I'll take one of those. So, Cannabis Day a little different this year.
It was a little different?
Little different.
Old school, brother.
Old school style.
Yeah, man.
So I'm hoping that we can... I hope we haven't burned our bridges too much here. And but the thing is that we didn't do it. A lot of people... even people that used to be part of our community kind of think it was
over the top,
irresponsible maybe of us. I think we were doing everything we always did.
I guess we'll see what happens. 420's a long ways away from now. So the future of is yet to know.
We were doing the same thing that we always do every year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, and they know we're going to do it regardless of what the fuck they say. I know I'll be here next Cannabis Day. I'll just set up a booth again, whether they say it's okay or not.
No matter what happens, Cannabis Day and 420 are going on.
Damn right, brother.
And, not sure exactly how it's going to look, but it's going to happen.
The structure of...
Yeah, it will definitely be happening. And it might not be happening at the Vancouver Art Gallery.
But it'll be happening somewhere.
But it'll be happening. Now, if we have to move 420, that's going to take a lot of promotion, so... We're going to get started on this right away. We're going to apply for permits. Hopefully, I wonder if maybe somebody else other than me or Jody should apply for permits. I don't know. I'm not sure how the city manager's office feels about us. Melmo, yeah.
Get Melmo to apply.
That's a good idea.
And Neil, yeah.
Neil Magnuson.
Melmo and Neil.
Yeah. Just to see.
Yeah.
I'll pay for the permit if Melmo gets it in his name.
I'm not sure how much it's going to be. And I'm not sure how much the insurance... See,
Insurance
in order to
is
get
a big
a permit,
good luck
we
in
have to get
insurance.
insurance.
And good
and
luck
now
with
after this last thing
you
that
gotta have a
happened,
couple steak nights to get the
good
fucking
Lord.
insurance money for that.
Well, we're willing to go ahead and do it again without it if we have to. And maybe there'll be more violent arrests from the VPD. Hey, if they want to come down to every single rally we have and violently arrest people, then, they can if they want. They're in charge. But do they really want to do that? I don't think they do.
I hope they don't.
I hope they don't. It'll be really annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to keep doing what we do.
Yeah. And they know it too.
Until it's legal. Until it's
100%
until we
legal.
Claim our rightful place as regular citizens with everybody else who are allowed to make adult decisions for themselves And even, I think a 17-year-old, even a 16-year-old should be able to make decisions for himself.
Well, they can
just like the Senate report said. When I was 15, I was smoking marijuana, and nobody was going to tell me not to.
17, and I was smoking. Nobody's going to tell me not to.
Yeah.
I
nobody's
started
told me not
smoking
to
marijuana
since, really.
the summer from grade 6 going into grade 7, so I was like 11.
Yeah. If the city wants to regulate marijuana and tell minors they can't have it and sell legal marijuana, then they should do that. We should have legal marijuana sales in the city of Vancouver, not just these dispensaries, just for medical marijuana. So
that was a nice hoot.
And we should do it out in the open.
We should do it.
A lot of people would say, "Wow, well, those dispensaries are basically legal, anyways. It's basically legalization. Everybody's got a card."
Here's what you should do: if you're a dealer of marijuana,
gotta be in the open, not in the shadows.
You should fucking keep records and pay your taxes, and then it'll just become a legitimate business. Plain and simple. So just don't hide it. A guilty man hides. That's what I always say.
Right.
A guilty man hides in his basement to smoke up.
Yeah.
Hides in his garage to get high.
Oh, baby.
Right? He hides from his coworkers that he gets high. You met that guy who goes, "Oh, I didn't know they got high." Right? It's because he was hiding his whole life. A guilty man hides. Don't be like that. If it's a victimless crime and there is no real guilt behind what happens except the hypocrisy of what they do, then just keep it rolling. Just fucking do your due diligence. Pay your taxes, stay on top of it, and we'll legitimize this business eventually. Eventually. Those are my thoughts anyway.
I agree. Especially about the part about doing it in the light and not in the shadows.
That's right.
And not hiding.
Don't hide.
Don't
be afraid of what you are. If you own a head shop, don't say it's a tobacco shop.
Right, exactly.
If you don't say your pipes are for fucking tobacco only.
No, I never liked
that.
that.
Say that it's for fucking weed.
Exactly.
Have some goddamn conviction.
Yeah.
Right? If you sit at home, you get stoned with all your friends, stop doing that. Get outside. Go to the park and get high.
And they go after the people who do it openly because they don't want them to encourage others.
That's
right.
why. They don't want
so
the
guys that
masses.
do it in private, the gangsters that do it, and what's it, Baghdad, or what's his name? I can't remember what his name is now. But the only other guy who ever got seed charges besides Mark, who had overgrow.com.
Right.
Well, he was doing it in private. And then when he started doing it openly and actually becoming an activist is when, that's when they go after these guys.
That is when you go after
people
them.
start standing up and not doing it in the shadows.
That's why they shut Mark down in 2004, with his huge voice.
Yeah.
They knew then, right? That overgrow the government campaign, love that shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's powerful stuff, right? And they were afraid. They were afraid show up and he fucking heckled the fucking drug czar. They're afraid of what we know and how we know it and why we know it, so they shut the voices of the people that mattered down. And all they did was make fucking Mark Emery a stronger fucking pillar of the pot community.
Yeah.
Back now, better than ever. Fucking hard at it with a new shop and a new lounge. I mean,
they can't. The more they try and stop
it,
the more famous they make people like Mark.
That's right.
Because they put him right in the spotlight,
They
and
do.
then they actually are shown to, without people like Mark, nobody would know somebody in jail. A lot of people don't know somebody in jail for a cannabis crime. In the United States, there's a lot of people in jail for cannabis crimes, though.
Tons.
So a good percentage of the
drug
population has a friend in jail for it. But, having a public face and having the cops flex their muscles in public sometimes is like a very real example of what is going on out there. And so, sometimes when this happens to us at our events, it's a representation of the violence, the institutional violence that's happening against us all the time. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing when this happens. This is like a lightning bolt of imagery for people to consume and see exactly that cops do this shit to pot people.
It wakes us the fuck up from the realm of complacency we were in.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
yeah.
Let's face it, we were very comfortable.
Yeah.
We were very comfortable as cannabis people in Vancouver. And now we know it's not that.
Can't be that comfortable sometimes.
And you know what? I don't know if it's premature to say, but I think
a few thorns in that rose bush.
Yeah.
The only common denominator I can think of is it's a new chief of police.
Yeah.
Chief Inspector Chu is not directing these guys anymore. It's a new guy. And every new guy that comes into play, whether it's a mayor or a city councilor or a chief of police or a fire chief, I'm going to do things a little different than the last guy did. You better believe it.
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure, you know.
Those cops don't answer to the mayor. Those cops answer to the chief of police.
Answer to their boss, that's right.
And the mayor, guarantee the mayor
that's
didn't
true.
fucking
No,
sit
he
down.
answers to the
The
mayor.
mayor did not sit down to design a tactical strike on 300 potheads.
Yeah.
The chief of police guaranteed sat and figured out how to fucking properly police that event, how to move the police into strategic positions so that
Yeah, but they work so closely together, though.
Dude, they had
Yeah.
undercovers.
No, though, they're all buddies.
They had undercovers positioned with shovels, pretending to dig and
But
stuff.
this is what I think. I think this is all of them together. It's not just one person or another.
No.
It's their little brain trust
No.
that they have. You know who it is? It's the same people who run the whole damn city. It's the city manager's office.
Well, no,
City
because
council.
The mayor,
Yeah.
So
the
you
mayor
don't
had
have to
the
look-
same.
I don't even think it's council.
We've had the same city council. We've had the same everything.
No, it's the cops in the city manager's
It's-
office.
It's the new person. That's just a personal opinion.
Yeah.
though. I think it's
There's
the new
only
chief.
so many people that actually control the city flow.
Yeah. The people that we speak to when I go in there has nothing to do with the city council. It's Sadhu Johnston, the deputy city manager. That's who we met with last time. It's the people from the Vancouver Police Department. It's the safety people. This last time we met with other guys in suits. Usually we meet with the special events office, Cale Hopwood. We meet with Sergeant Jeff Rice from the Vancouver Police Department, or Sergeant Jeff Dan Roth from
You
the.
never talked to
and
any
these
of
guys,
these this
no,
time?
we got upgraded or escalated to the next level with the bigwigs, and they're not. You know, I think we got off to a bad start with them. They didn't really sort of like, I think, our demeanor, and I don't think we really liked theirs. We got into a bit of a verbal confrontation on the telephone. But then we went into their office, and that wasn't very super pleasant either. We got lectured to about our arguing techniques, and kind of in a condescending fashion, which was very strange. We were
You know, your arguing techniques are very juvenile.
Well, that's nearly word for word.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much. And so we were kind of like, oh, well, this is strange. And then
You guys need to work on your arguing skills because they suck.
Yeah. Pretty much. And so that's unfortunate. And, you know, I think in the long run, we've been trying to be a peaceful activist group, doing what we've always done at the Vancouver Art Gallery, and, you know.
We need a public relations person to deal with these people.
I'll
do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We need like
Al would be the greatest PR ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
No, I don't know. I think
so we should ask Pot TV to send in their vote
And
for Al the Alchemist.
I feel bad that
as our PR rep.
I feel bad that. See, what happened was we usually deal with the special events office, and these people were not around. They didn't say anything to us about this. Usually we connect with them directly. They send us emails. We go in and have meetings with them in their office where we work with all of the city officials. That includes safety, fire, everyone. They get our walkie-talkies at the rallies. We have long talks with them, but nobody contacted us. We had reporters contact us 3 weeks before Cannabis Day.
Right.
This is already after we've booked booths and everything, like we always do every year. And they said, the press is like, well, we've talked to the city manager's office, and they said the art gallery is going to have construction fences around it. And no, those activists aren't having a protest at all.
But
They're having an event, and they don't have a
those
permit.
fences up till like that morning.
Yeah.
Right.
And then so when we contacted the city that day after we heard about this, at 11 p.m. that night, we got a response from the city manager's office saying that we wouldn't be allowed to have it. And that our name was on the cannabisday.ca thing and so on and so forth. So it was kind of, we were a little upset about that whole situation, or just, you know, we thought it was odd that nobody contacted us because we worked so closely with them for so long in years previous. And then when we met with them, Sadhu Johnson said that he thought we were rogues at first. And then that's at first because he didn't know who we were. And then I guess, you know, once we kind of worked it out or whatever, we actually, I just didn't want to finish it on a bad note. We did work it out, and we had a pleasant conversation with him afterwards where, you know, we agreed that I wouldn't do any organizing of booths. We wouldn't have the rally on the north side of the art gallery. We would have it on the south side. That we wouldn't have a constructed stage. Like we wouldn't build anything. And they didn't want booths, and I said there was nothing I could do to stop people from setting up booths. I know that people are going to set up booths, and I know that people are going to be selling marijuana there. I told him all of that stuff, and I said I will not take part in that, and I will pledge to not organize the booths and do that stuff. But that's the best I can do. And then
we set up a booth and sold no marijuana. We sold T-shirts and medtainers. It was fun. And I didn't have a permit because I'm from Saskatchewan and I don't think I need one to sell anything here. Beautiful Prairie Cup T-shirts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice.
So what's the new creation
I
there?
actually didn't really think I was being a jerk or anything. We were being impolite. I thought we were actually being pretty polite.
I'd like to point out that no police officers were harmed in the making of that game of Twister.
That's right. That is correct. Only activism's harmed.
Wow. That was a good dab.
Well.
So, that was a pretty... Bless you. Good episode today.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me as the co-host.
It was fun to have.
Super fun.
You in the
forward
house
to
here.
seeing everybody.
You're
I
gonna be
don't
heading
know
back
when
soon,
I'll
I'm
be
sure.
back. Yeah, for sure. You know I love it out here.
Yep. Yeah,
I got to go home next week, but...
And then I guess I'll see
we start
you
prepping for the Prairie Cup. And
Saskatchewan in a while, yeah.
I'm imagining.
Give them the dates and tell them about the tickets one more time.
So October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And for all those who don't know, the first night is my 38th birthday. Woo! So we're celebrating my birthday party that night. And it's at the O'Brien's Event Center in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. You can buy tickets online at sasprairiecup.ca, or you can email us at sasprairiecup@gmail.com. You also can buy tickets locally at Skunk Funk Smokers Emporium at 2405 22nd Street West in Saskatoon. And if you need to email us, it's skunkfunksmoker@gmail.com. And you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, social media, pretty much everything connects, Snapchat. I think we got it all going now. So we're excited to bring the 5th annual Prairie Cup to Saskatoon, and we're excited to have Pot TV in the house. Sublimator, again, platinum sponsors. We really appreciate all the hard work that they do. And, we look forward to this year, man. Pot TV is going to blow it up. And, I don't know. Not much more to say. Thanks again for having me. I loved it.
Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for letting me be part of that protest, too. It's good to get that under the belt.
Then I don't have anything to do with it. I'm
Yeah,
not one of the
nothing
organizers.
to do with the protest at the four.
And, but in a way, this protest does belong to everybody.
I think
this isn't my protest, and it's not
No.
Mark Emery's protest, and
Wasn't.
it's not David Mammal Levine's protest,
No.
or Greg's, or yours.
Neil's.
This is everybody's.
Bert's,
There's
all of
and
them.
it's all those people who set up. And I've said this for a long time, and
People came and openly set up.
usually that place is just completely covered in those booths.
Yep.
Like on 420, we had like literally 350 or more.
There you go.
10 by 10 booths set up selling marijuana products and other things.
There was a smaller crowd this year due to the size constriction of where we were placed on that south side.
Yeah.
I mean, we noticed the numbers weren't the same, but at midday it was pretty packed.
Yeah, I showed the picture earlier there of the big like panorama view of it. A lot of people packed in there. And that's after the cops were like,
that was after the
busting heads and
So 2016.
That's
it'll be
right.
a big
So
year for us.
I really am dedicated working with the police and the city to make this event go forward with no casualties,
With
no
no harassment.
arrests, no smashings,
Peaceful.
no like violent
No pepper
takedowns. No pepper spray.
No jaywalking tickets.
Peaceful. Yeah.
Right.
Right. No jaywalking
Just-
tickets.
I mean,
yeah.
like, maybe some infused pepper spray.
Infused
yeah,
pepper spray.
infused
Put it on the nachos.
Just like.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Infused pepper spray
I'm buying
nachos.
nachos if we got infused
nachos
pepper
sound
spray. I'm
good.
buying nachos.
That's-
By the way.
Let's not rule out pepper spray, but just let's not apply it.
Let's
in
not
the same,
apply
in
it in the same
fashion
manner.
That it's been
That's
applied
right.
in-
Like to your face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nacho sounds way better.
I love really
It would be
peppery nachos.
It'd be a good spray.
Yeah.
Might get a little splash.
It's like a tincture. Yeah.
Okay, now we're just getting silly.
All right.
All right.
So, yeah, man, that was really good. Thanks for getting me completely dabbed sideways for the end of the show.
Yes,
there.
thank you, Al. Thank you, Sublimator.
That's right.
We are. Thank you,
And,
Pot TV. We love you guys.
Thank you, Skunk Funk. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jade.
Jade. Reg in the house.
Thanks for letting me hijack your show.
Jade.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah, you should.
Thanks for everybody for watching Pot TV. Tell all your friends, repost, you know, all that good stuff.
Yeah, Jade.
All of that good
That's
stuff.
right.
Thanks for tuning in. We love you guys.
Yes, and you can tune into lots of Pot TV shows all week long here at pot.tv. Check out Monday, Opus. 4 p.m. is
Live.
the 420 Lifestyle. On Wednesday, we got Greg and Al the Alchemist just sitting on the couch right over here. 4 p.m. That's from Under the Sea Desk.
Make sure you're there. Tune
My
in.
show's on Friday. And then, of course, tomorrow is the Redbeard show.
Nice.
And we just got back from the
Redbeard
Glass Gathering.
Glass Gathering was epic. We love you, Redbeard's also a sponsor of the Prairie Cup.
It was awesome.
Great Canadian Glass Gathering. Shine Glasswork, Gibson Glasswork. You know, all those guys. Amazing people. We
Yeah.
had such a great event. You know, Tank Glass. Who else was out there? You know, so
Everybody.
many people was out there.
Yeah.
Just
It was-
everybody in the
And
community.
Redbeard sure knows how to throw a party, man.
He does. In the mountains.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We have a lot of content from that up on Pot TV. You can always check out what Redbeard's doing on
And if you didn't make
Saturdays
it up,
at 4, Pot
if you
TV.
didn't make it up this year, you'll be there next year. It's going to be bigger and better. So we're adding all new types of
Yeah, it's
features
an
every year up at the Glass
Intimate
Gathering.
gathering, but it's getting bigger, that's for sure.
It is.
Camping.
It's
a lot
awesome.
Of camping. And it's a lot of cool family, and everybody up there is really great. And there's those torches that are burning all night long. So if you're into glass blowing, it's probably like the biggest wet dream you can imagine.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of glass blowers constantly working all night long on cool, functional glass. It's fucking awesome. So we'll be back very soon. More of this on Pod TV. Love you guys.
Peace, Pot TV.
Keep fighting for freedom.